Hello! I hope you're enjoying the elevator music. We needed some background music, so we thought that elevator was going to be the go. How we doing, people? Nelson is watching. How's the little one, mate? Corey Drake. In the house, man. There he is.
Good morning, guys.
Mr. Sears is on. How are you, John?
V275 man.
That's it. Internet.
The Godfather.
Hello. We'll be bringing you on board shortly, John. We'll just wait for the crowd to come on. Hope you're well, sir. Saw your post this morning. I thought that was very pointed. Scotty West, how are you, man? We're just having some breakfast.
The cheese pastries.
How have I been? How have I been, or how's Vic been? You know us, Nelson, it's always interesting. Oh, coffee. What do you want? What's your favourite? Take what you want. You want coffee? No. What's that, coffee? You want coffee? Reminds me of New York.
I know. I told you to stay there for your time. Hey, Jen's watching.
Hi, Jenny.
Happy anniversary, Jen.
Woo!
I say, what anniversary is it, bro?
Yeah, true. Of what? How many years is it?
16 years.
16 years, Jenny, you've put up with him.
I think you get less than murder, mate, but anyway. Good old Jen. Soldier.
Luke, how are you, man? We'll be covering off your event today, brother.
Yeah, what's in that, Grey Double?
Not yet, man. It's only just gone. 10:30. Most people know that we're late, you know. We were early today. 16 years, Jenny. Wow. Ron Rhodes, 436. What class was that?
Ronnie Rhodes getting it done.
Vic, yeah, he was out. Can you see him now, Jen?
I had to pick up the phone. He was just trying to get settled in here this morning. There's going to be fireworks today. There's a couple of voodoo dolls of us around after today's show.
16 years later, man. And she's still hungry, man. She's the picture.
Thanks, Jen. That's good. You could get less than one of these days. Great. X275, Ron Rhodes, 436.
So, John, was anyone complaining about the rules then, mate? You know what I mean?
Mr. Woods is on.
Should we leave him in the background?
No, it's a bit of a
Mr. Wood, how are you, man? Cam?
Can everybody see that nice old Greek Mercedes in the background, that Valiant there?
Sponsored by Muscle Cars.
VF773 out here. What a car. Chris and the boys are always doing something there for us.
They'll always complain. Not after today, brother. We're going to have some voodoo dolls in us after today.
I've had hundreds, man. I sleep well, mate. Doesn't matter. As long as the truth is said, the rules are the rules. That's it. You don't want to follow them? Well, there's plenty of Kleenex in the corner. 99 cents a box.
Kleenex and nappies for the babies.
Yeah, everyone says no stories, but they're the ones with them.
Cam Riley, how are you, buddy? Everyone's well, huh? Everyone can hear us. We didn't do a sound check.
I'm sure they can hear us, mate. They're responding there.
Yeah. Sound check. Testing 1, 2. Alrighty. Now.
Craig Lewis is on. Good morning. Anthony Inglis, good morning. And there you go. Your better half's on, mate.
The best half.
The best half. Jeez.
The best half is on. How are you, darling?
Here we go. Mike Thompson, 464 in Ultra Street. Man, oh man, is that bloke flying. Jeez, putting a few guys in 275 on show with that time. Who's there? Josie, who's that? Cheers, boys, from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. God bless you, Joel. Make sure you get all the Puerto Ricans on, man. It's going to be a lit show today, that's for sure.
I believe that 464 small block nitrous, or they're talking about Rhodes is there actually.
Yeah, we're on roads, huh?
On Rhodes, mate. Was it 436? Wow.
All right, ladies and gents, we'll just start talking, and then I gather when John Sears gets on, man, there's going to be a heap of people get on. So firstly, thanks for joining Victor and I again for episode 6. We started this to do a laugh and just generate some interest in the Jet 275 race program I've got. And then Vic and I seem to have created a monster here, which we're really enjoying, to be honest, at the moment. And we're getting more and more people engaging with us and help try and grow the radial sport here in Australia. So very proud to be able to do that with a lot of people there. We've got some amazing guests on today. So we've got John Sears, who, if you don't know who John Sears is, I'll just put it very simply. He created 275 racing. Finish. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. There are some pioneers of the sport we're going to talk about with John Sears as well. And for a lot of people that have joined the radial scene only recently, you're going to find out who actually helped start this, along with Donald Long, right? So look at John Sears as the godfather, and Donald Long just took it to the next level when it came to radial racing, right? So we've got him on. We're going to have Shane T on now. Shane T is actually time limited. He's at the Salt Flats and he's jumping on planes. So probably in about 40 minutes, we'll have Shane T straight on, because I know he's a little bit time poor. From there, we're going to have the Jarrod Wood now. With Jarrod, we've got some fantastic initiatives that we're going to be doing with Jarrod Wood today. We've got Wagstaff coming on board as well. And we're going to definitely be punching away through this list of guests as well. Further to that, we're going to announce a brand new class or a brand new event in the radial scene, 235 event, Outlaw Australia 235 page on Facebook. Luke James and the team there, they've got a huge 235 focused event that we're going to be announcing today on the feed. And then separate to that, man, we have Mr. Six Boost himself, Kyle Hopf, who will be joining us as well. So the show's going to be pretty lit today. We'll get stuck into it pretty soon with John Sears coming on board to talk about what it's like to actually it's recording. You're down. Now we're live. Same connection available.
Are we on or not? Ask.
Yeah, we're on.
Sorry about that, guys. We just lost a bit of a connection there. 2018, you can't even stay online for 5 minutes. Are we on or not, brother?
Is everyone on there?
No, it looks like it's come back.
Nikki? Cool. Wade?
Michael Rowe, George Rallis is on. Good morning, guys.
Happy birthday, George. We had some Telstra connectivity issues there. It's gone green now, man.
There we go. We're back on.
Unbelievable. I don't know what's going
Not
on.
Even 7G can help you.
Keeps freezing, is it? It's dropping in now. All right, guys. Give me a tick. I might just put this on the 4G, and we'll come back on. Just hold on there.
No, do it while you're on here.
Let's see.
Yeah, but just on John Sears, mate. Hasn't he done some big stuff?
Absolutely.
He'll be coming on shortly. No, they good here. No, I think we're all good there. Working good, boys. Kyle's on. Can you hear us?
I just don't want it to drop out again, man.
No, I don't believe it will. Where are we here? No, we're all good here. It keeps going blurry. Gents coming through. Sorry, guys. We're just checking some connectivity things here. How are we coming across? How's the picture quality? Or is that maybe because it is dropping in and out? No, we're still here.
All right, guys, we just changed network, so can anyone...
Keeps cutting out.
Can everyone see us at the moment?
Better now?
Okay.
There we go.
We'll wait another 2 minutes and we'll get some people back on and we'll kick it off. It's been very windy and rainy here today, so don't know if that's affected.
Been raining here for 3 days and been raining for another 5. But
Is it
racing this week?
Just try again, guys. All right, that should be all good now. It's actually pissing rain, so hopefully that's working. Is everyone happy with that?
Big connection connectivity issues.
2000 and...
Who's that? John and Posty's on. Vic Elphus, the CV boys, good morning.
Still dropping out, guys, so you can hear us all now.
Picture quality's okay. No one's responding. Much better.
Okay.
Wow.
That's pretty telling.
Much better. My pic quality is real ordinary, then goes good, keeps interrupting.
Okay, Claire and Jarrod,
Where's
good.
Mitchell? Whereabouts are you?
Kyle Hopf, good.
Yep.
Jenny Spirella, good.
Okay,
Can you
good.
see Vic now? Brody, good.
Can everybody see me? I'm in the picture, clear. Everybody see me?
Oh, man, all right.
Close it.
Wade seems to be good. All right.
The 3 second.
Good now, fantastic. All right, so everyone will start joining us. We're just about to bring on John Sears, and Vic was just explaining about who John Sears is. So Vic, if you want to jump back into that. And
yeah, John Sears, he's the pioneer, mate. He's the godfather of 275 radial racing, you know. Mate, what can I say? He's the man, that's it, you know. I mean, he's got the rules. Unfortunately, we're going to touch on a couple of topics here, and, you know, a couple of people aren't going to be happy about it, but at the end of the day, the rules are the rules. You know, race at his events, you know, it's there for a reason, guys. We do need some sort of parity. I mean, you know, people bending rules, flexing rules. Well, you know, I'll let John tell you all about that. But, you know, at the end of the day, look, without him, mate, the class wouldn't be what it is today. And you know, it just shows that at no mercy what happened there.
I think the comment needs to be, if you don't like the rules, if you can't compete with the rules, get out. There is no one's putting a gun to your head, as John said today, and saying, hey man, you're going to run that class.
Exactly.
If you can't afford it, if your missus is busting your chops because you're spending too much money on race cars, yeah? If you're going to lose your marriage, if you're going to lose your job, and if the world's to blame because you can't go X275 racing, or you can't go racing, man, it's simple. Sell your shit, get out, enjoy your life. Life is very simple.
100%.
All right, we have a luxury where we're racing, yeah?
Oh, 100%. You know, I think anybody that races, you know,
Absolutely.
they throw everything at them, and everybody knows it's not easy. But at the end of the day, the rules are the rules. You know, and you know, people might not like it, like we said. You know, hey, the rules are there. These are the rules. John Sears is regulating them. They've been the same forever. There may have been minimal revisions.
And look, the revisions are this, man. If you have a nitrous car, right, and your back half split is X, and a turbo car, your back half split is X, and a blower car, your back half split is X, and your front halves are ABC, then we need to look at the parity, right? If we're not looking at parity, then you're not helping the guys enter into the sport. Now, if you only want the top 3 cars in the world competing in a class, well, you go ahead and do that. That's not what John Sears is about. So we're going to bring John on, and he's going to tell us about how it all started, why it started, and we'll go from there. So, Johnny, if you're still available, Chris Sears, how are you, brother? Good to have you on. Theo Woolett.
Good morning, Theo.
Sean. How are you, mate? We're about to bring on the man of the hour at the moment, Mr. John Sears. So we're going to add...
Yeah. Some people are probably saying, what are we talking about, or what are we carrying on about? I mean, you know...
guys, if you want to be on the feed, you have to be on your mobile device. I've seen about 6 or 7 people not on their mobile device. There he is. Mr. Sears, can you hear us? And how are you today?
Oh, loud and clear, guys.
Good
Trying
evening,
to get some rest after SGMP.
Absolutely, absolutely. So firstly, God bless America. God bless you and your family. What you and Lara do for the races, I don't think there are many people that don't appreciate what you do. There may be some that don't express it, but from Victor and I, who we've known you for many, many years now, and I'm sure most of the world, we thank you for what you've done for radial racing and 275.
No, it's much appreciated, guys. We're happy to do it. It quite often, with everything that's going on, after big races and after big events, and people go really fast. It really puts a load on me come Monday morning when all the internet strife starts.
So John, I'm sure you're used to that now, and I'm sure that
I lost your audio.
yeah, I think you're just make sure your phone's got good reception, but you should hear us now. You got us set?
We on?
Laura, bring your phone.
That's all right. Well, we've had technical difficulties too today, so we'll stay on.
The clarity's okay. Can you see us or can you hear us there? Or looks like we may have not lost him. He's on there, but
Oh, he's definitely on.
yeah,
You didn't press mute, did you?
lost the audio.
Adam, yes, he is the man.
Let's see if we can do this. This is going to be odd.
Just bear with us, folks.
No.
We can hear you, John.
Let's see if we can do this.
Here we go. I think he's doing something.
Everyone's waiting.
So, guys, while John's just getting that all sorted, just so everyone's aware, if you want to join the feed, just make sure you're on your mobile device. Make sure you've got some reception because Facebook does take a pounding here. Then we'll bring him back on.
Reconnect him.
And try to reconnect him.
Adam's on. Daniel Pharris is on.
Daniel Pharris, how are you, man? God, I love technology. We love it, man. We love. Trust me, we love it. Fuck technology. Yeah.
I think this is what happens sometimes with those fuel tech things, but I don't want to start that shit.
We've just started. You can't get into that.
Did I say microtech?
It's not that. Where's the green ball? What? Which one had the green ball?
There's a green ball there. You get playing tennis, and then you get the unit, and there's no green ball.
Good, glad to how you, man. It's a comedy.
Billy's on, mate.
It's a comedy of errors, man. We're trying to get some guests.
Good morning,
on.
Billy.
Oh man,
Jeez, everyone, excuse me. I'm just keep eating here.
Okay, guys. So John, when you're back on and you're watching the feed, we should be able to connect you as well. So. I can't see him yet, but I'm sure we'll see him soon. I can see you, but I can't connect. So make sure you're on your phone, John, and we'll get John Sears back on. Hey, Anthony, how are you, man? It's been a fantastic morning so far with internet dropping out, phones dropping out.
Mr. Pro Speed himself. Maybe we need some footage here. There we go.
All right, let's see.
Send in request. All right, John Sears coming back on.
Let's see the request. We can't do it. Are you on your phone? I don't know why it does that.
You need to be on a mobile device. We said that.
There he is. Hold on.
He's back.
He's back. Nice chamber.
Who wrote that? Oh, Pharris. Yeah, this is Duck's one.
We're adding you, Mr. Sears. Accept. There he is.
He's back.
Okay, can you hear us, sir?
Yep, I can hear you.
We're all good.
Now, John, there may be a delay, so just wait for the delay because obviously you're in the US, and by the time North Korea tries to intercept the message and China, it gets to be a little bit delayed.
Wagstaff's asking what we're eating. We just got a couple of banquet things here: cheese pastries, spinach pastries, all the good Greek stuff, mate.
Yeah.
No lamb yet. It's used early, but anyway, John.
I think your brother's on, John. So yes, Chris, Donald Long gave us the chain and wheel the last time we were there for thanking us for attending all of his races. So yes, that is the Donald Long watch. So John, as we were saying before, we know you've got some pretty thick skin, and the internet warriors always jump on after an event. But can you explain to the viewers on the live feed at the moment, what helped you decide to create the 275 class? And did you anticipate it to be the fastest growing class in the world?
Well, we own a nitrous small block car, and when you try to race twin turbo big block cars in the quarter mile, it makes it really hard on a nitrous small block guy to try to keep up. So with that in mind, we figured we'd put it on a smaller tire, much like they did out on the West Coast, and what we had been doing down in Florida with the Florida Real Street class. Bring the 275 into play and do it on the 8th mile. And started out primarily with nitrous small block cars, but to increase car count and to get more interest in the program, we decided to include other combinations: small block turbo, small block blower, and big block nitrous. And that added the diversity we were looking for and increased the car count.
Right, and so from there, at the time, it was more about street style cars. It was grassroots races that were putting on a radial tire, and because of the parity, I think that you guys had started to create, I think it started to really kick on. What was the precipice? What was the changing factor that really got people involved in the 275 class, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, it was that grassroots feel, and the basicness of the cars that were running. A lot of them were already established racers in other classes and things of that nature, and it allowed for an easy transition into the what morphed into X275. And when we wrote the rules, it was a lot of it was based on the NMCA Extreme Street and the Florida Real Street stuff that we did, and Outlaw Drag Radial, and some of those things were like, I guess you could say, some things that happened in Outlaw Drag Radial that I didn't agree with, and I kind of remembered those things, so I wanted to incorporate that into the X rules, and that's kind of why you see big block nitrous cars saddled with a conventional cylinder head. I really feel that when we were running an Outlaw Drag Radial, they allow the 632 come in with big chiefs and multiple systems and stuff like that to keep up with the turbo cars and to keep up with the blower cars. And that was really like a turning point. It's almost like nuclear war, where things just kind of escalate to the point where it just gets out of control.
Yeah.
As we've just seen after this event.
Yeah, exactly. That's this event was unique. It was hot. We had 44 tech cards sold and 42 cars make passes. We had Rob Goss take the win in his Chrysler, and it was reported at some point that it was a 4-link car, which we don't allow. And of course, that spiraled out of control. When in reality, it is a drag pack suspension, and it's unequal length 4-bar underneath the car. So very different than a multi-adjustable 4-link. But you can see, as somebody sees something, they send it to somebody, then somebody else sends it to somebody, and it winds up spiraling out of control and becomes drama, when the truth is much simpler, and facts really weigh on a limited amount when it comes to the internet.
And John, I normally let a few things slide, especially when people personally attack you. And look, Victor and I are not immune to people attacking us. A lot of people don't like that we've got the show happening and that we tell it how it is. So, but last week I had to get involved. The personal attacks that are occurring from a select amount of racers who, I've seen everyone all together and everyone drinking and everyone having a good time, and all of a sudden I saw that it was becoming more of a personal vendetta rather than about the rules of the sport. So to put it very bluntly, you are like the IHRA or NHRA of X275. You are the rule maker. You can adapt the rules. You can change the rules. By God, you can destroy the rules if you wanted tomorrow. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. The respect needs to be provided to you. Albeit, I know that you consult all the racers. I know that Donald Long assists in giving you some of his opinion, given the fact that he has the largest radial races in the world. I know that Tyler Crosno is always providing his opinion. I know that there are those that are respected in the community that try and work with you, not against you. And at the end of the day, you know, you don't have tech officials all over the world like the NHRA. You don't have, you know, scrutineers that it's you, some of your supporters, some of your helpers, and you go to every race that you possibly can in the point series. Now, to have personally attacked you based on something that happened in history, and I'm just going to come out and say it, right? So the Bruder boys, fantastic for the sport. They've been around it for a long time. We met the Bruters a long time ago in Georgia. They were working on whose car was it? Was it Nolan's car?
Nolan's car.
They were working on the Jarrod's car now.
That was over 4 years.
Right.
Over 4 years ago, right? And I just want to ask the question, right? Was the blower that they had banned because at the time it was a prototype?
It was never, we never banned it, and we never took it out of their use. They can continue to use the blower. It's just going to come in at a heavier weight. When that originally happened, we thought it might have been a good idea, and we backed off of it. I don't want to see anybody spend that kind of money and be part of our organization and get kicked to the curb. They make other racers better. There is no doubt about it. They give those guys that are behind them something to strive for. And you cannot take anything away from what those guys do out there. But in all actuality, I have to look at power to weight, and I have to look at, you know, the parity that we're looking for. I have to look at what numbers are run, what conditions they're run in, and I have to make adjustments. And sometimes those adjustments are painful to make.
Absolutely, but you know, I'm sure you looked at the data. I'm sure you consulted them and said, guys, you know, run what you want, but we're going to have to add some weight here. We're going to have to make it fair for the class. Now, if we move back to Mr. Goss, who just won at SGMP, and I would say probably the most testing conditions ever raced, I'm seeing that, you know, people are saying the blower was not class legal, or it was adjusted, and you know, how do we police the adjusting of equipment? And I think you said it best the day after. If you've got a protest about a racer and we need to tear it down or we need to check it, shouldn't we be doing it during the race?
I would think that would be the appropriate time if there's a problem, and give us the opportunity to rectify the situation. I've actually been in the lanes after a final in X275 upside down in somebody's car, crawling underneath their dash and looking for suspected infractions. And you know, it was one of those things that the racer in question was very open and allowed us to go back over the car again. And on top of that, the other racer, once I was complete, was satisfied with my inspection. So that put it all to the end, and it squashed it. So give me the opportunity to make it right, and I'll do the very best that I can. And if you're still not satisfied, well, then it's kind of on you at that point. Because I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that the guy you line up with is legal and presents his car as a legal X275 car.
John, sorry to interrupt. Can I just say, obviously, no one has an issue if it's done while the event is happening. That's what we're saying? It can be one inquiry, it can be 20 inquiries. If you've got a question, come to you, ask the question, nut it out there, let the race continue. Just to stop all this BS happening Monday morning, so to speak, yes?
Absolutely. I'm there the entire weekend. I'm usually one of the last people to leave. So I'm available. If you can't find me, I know you guys have listened to the live feed and how many times I get called to the tower, right?
Absolutely.
100%.
We've been there when you've been called to the tower.
Multiple times. Countless.
Usually takes me just a couple minutes to get there, right? I'm close by and I'm easy to get a hold of.
Absolutely. So if we can just put it to bed now, was Rob Goss legal in the class win at SGMP?
100%.
That's it.
Game over.
Well done.
We're going to tick that off the list. Now, I wanted to ask you something because I read something that was concerning you. you alluded to maybe stepping away from the 275 class, you know, in a time frame, and I know you get frustrated, but I think that would be the death of the class, to be honest with you. So we are pleading with you to always remain as part of the sanctioning body of 275. But tomorrow, if you had the opportunity to have a clean slate, I believe I've read the rules, so I'm totally across the rules on that, and I believe parity is pretty much there at the moment. We had a comment here from Jarrod Johnston who said no one expected Goss to win, and I think that was the problem. But we can't say that
right.
every race,
No.
right? Because when Ron Rhodes wins, are we saying, well, we expected Ron to win because he's badass, right? Or when Marini's is busting everyone's butt, including in NHRA, when you guys had your exhibition, did anyone turn around and say, well, Marini's with nitrous, we need to pull the nitrous guys back? No one said that.
Exactly.
Right? No
Correct.
one said that. And so my thing is going to be this. In March next year, and God willing, we're going to be at the race to see this, but there's $50,000 available for a 275 race win with Donald Long. For me,
Yep, largest purse ever, World Series of X.
Unbelievable.
Awesome. Like, for you, that must be emotional to you. You've grown the sport to a point where, you know, it's now par and par with Radial versus the World, right? So, and I think it's outgrowing that based on the fact that there's still grassroots races. But at $50,000, I'm sure that there's going to be some jumping up and down. So your advice to everyone entered in that race is what? Is it read the freaking rules? If you have a question, email you beforehand. And if you have a protest, you damn better make sure it's during testing and not when people are about to win 50 grand. Because $50,000, John, changes people. Money changes people. We've seen that with some of the people we know, right? The money changes people, right? But at the end of the day, 50 grand is going to cause a lot of problems. And so $50,000 when it comes to race rules, I assume you're going to have a set rules between now and then. There'll be any adjustments made. But what do you want the racers competing for 50 grand to do at that race?
Well, you're absolutely right about money changing the way people behave, and changes who they are. It could be 5 grand, it could be 10 grand, it could be 50 grand. Money changes people, and it makes them say and do things sometimes that not normally, you know, part of their character. So with that being said, I've gotten the opportunity for several years to work with Jason Miller at the World Cup Finals.
Yeah.
And he runs a great event there, and I've learned an extremely large amount of information about imports and about domestics and about running tech certain ways and doing things a certain way to head off all these problems before they become large issues and things get blown out of proportion. So one of the things that I'm going to ask racers to do is to come prepared to tech, to make sure all their safety gear is on board first and foremost, and make sure everything is up to date as it should be. Make sure that your chassis certs are up and ready to go. If not, hopefully we'll have somebody there that can validate your chassis and get a new cert put on it. And then after that, we're going to be cabling turbos and blowers after we do the full-blown inspection on them. So you'll bring your car as it is raced to tech, right? The front end's not going to be pulled off of it. The hood's not going to be off of it. You're going to bring your car to tech as it is raced. You'll remove the hood, and if you want to remove the front end to access the turbos and the blowers in order for us to pull them off or to measure what we have to measure, then that's what we're going to do, because we're going to make sure that everybody and everything is 100% correct before they get to go out there, so none of this stuff that's transpired over the past week and a half will continue.
Well, there you go. You heard it first. You know the rules. You got 5 months, isn't that right now, John, to address anything they need to?
Absolutely. They've got more than enough time. We're going to be checking front end ride heights, that 3-inch NHRA rule. Yeah. I've got a good friend that made us a nice block, and we'll be rolling that under the front end and sliding it back and forth and making sure it doesn't hit anything so your ride height is correct. we're going to be using not only the cables, but we're going to be using paint pens on the blowers and the turbos as well to make sure that they stay on the car once they've been teched. In order for you to remove your turbo or your blower, should it fail, you're going to have to come get a technical representative from the group, and they're going to go over there and they're going to re-inspect the new blower or new turbo you put on prior to you getting clearance to run the car again.
John, thank God for you, man. I'll tell you what, if you are a 275 racer and you watch this live feed, so John, the last live feed we did, we ended up having about 6,500 people end up watching it right after the event. But we got Dean Marinis on here, right? I would say one of the kings of 275, and
oh, absolutely.
Mean Dean, you're the man, and a fellow Greek as well, John. So obviously there's some love there, man. But what I will say is this: if you are planning to race for $50,000 with Donald Long's race, there is going to be no bullshit. There is going to be nothing the day after. There's going to be no complaining the day before, because John Sears has said it. They're going to cap the blower. They're going to cap the turbos. They're going to measure them. They're going to measure ride heights. They're going to check every car with a fine-tooth comb. If you want to compete and cheat, you will be kicked out. If you want to compete and then complain because your shit isn't fast enough, you have no leg to stand on. John Sears is making sure that you have no leg to stand on. So if you're going for 50 grand, you better make sure you come prepared.
100%.
Which is what John said, yeah?
100%. You've heard it live.
Oh, yeah.
Everything will be checked. Guys, get your shit, get it right, get out there. Let's have a great event coming up.
And I'd like to add that they're going to need fuel taps as well underneath the hood.
Okay.
And we're going to be checking fuel. Donald's already given me the green light to make sure that we pull fuel samples off of these cars. And we check them and we make sure that they're 100% legal as far as their fuel is concerned, because some of that has been called into question as well. And I get the opportunity to work with a guy named Howie from IHRA at the World Cup events. And we do random fuel checks on all the cars. And sometimes we'll do a complete class of cars. So it should be, it should be pretty legit. And we're actually going to raise the bar on how things are done. Donald for, putting up the money for that fuel test, because it's not.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And I think your reception was just cutting in and out there quickly, but we heard it all. So just to make it clear to everyone watching, you've heard it.
Oh, I lost
live,
the audio again.
Exclusive, right? So we can hear you, John. So we'll finish it off here. But there'll be fuel testing. There will be
Laura, bring the
capping
phone
of the blower and the turbos, and you've heard it here live. And at the end of the day, guys, we've had that come straight from John Sears himself.
You guys can hear me?
Father of 275 Racing.
Yep, you got us.
All right, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Okay, no worries. So we'll just wait for John to swap phones. But while John's doing that,
Laura,
guys, there was huge conjecture after SGMP about the winner of the race. And also about parity. That's all been put to bed now. Vic, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, I mean, like we said, the guys have got 5 months. If they've got any protests, do it on the day, do it prior to the race, whatever. Get your shit right, get it done. We don't want another incident. I mean, it's typical. Guys run fast. People can't believe what they run. And it's purely the fact because they can't get their shit together. And, all of a sudden they've got to put a protest. They must be cheating. He's got illegal fuel, ride heights, whatever, turbos, blowers. But anyway, the rules are the rules. John said it. Everybody's got a good opportunity to get their stuff and have a great event coming up. They must be cheating. He's got illegal fuel, ride heights, whatever, turbos. Anyway, the rules are the rules. John said it. Guys not fast. Everybody's got a good opportunity to.
We'll bring John back on a bit later on. So guys, you've heard it there first. Exclusive to the Jet 275, man. There'll be fuel testing. Donald Long's going to be coming to the party for that. They'll be, we're going to put like a band over the blower and the turbo once it's been teched, yeah? Yeah. So they'll be tabbing in. They'll tag the blower and the turbo. So what that means is you can't go back to the pits and put a different size turbo on or different size housings or anything like that. Once that's done, that's it. You race with that. And as John said, Vic, so what's the story? If they blow it, what have they got to do? They've got to go get a
Correct.
They got to go
get attacked.
Right.
Front end's got to come off the car. They will be doing it. You know, I mean, basically what we're saying is, look, not a shame that the sport's come that, but you know, people like to be, you know, a little bit conniving back in the pits.
Look, and look, everyone's going to push, right?
Yeah. Look, there's only, you know, maybe pushing, but you know, other guys are breaking the camel's back, and that's where the issues is.
Absolutely.
You know?
So, guys, if you're a 275 racer and you just watch that, man, game over. That's there. If I hear any bitching about 275 racing in the US now, man, come on, man. Like that's it's extreme, as someone said. So someone said it's extreme, but that's what's happened, right?
Well, that's it. It shows you what people are willing to do, and you know, when there's money involved, hey, you know.
So firstly, on behalf of Vic and I would like to thank John Sears. John, thank you for your time, and we're going to have you on the show a few times if that's okay, man, because I'm sure everyone wants to hear you now. I do believe we've got Shane T, so we've got a small gap to bring Shane T on. Shane, if you can, man, if you can get onto your mobile phone, we'd love to bring you on board, man, because I know that you've got to jump around in between. So, Vic, if you want to recap your thoughts there on what's happening in 275.
Look, it's basically get your shit and get it done right, and that's it, you know. We've said it maybe 3-4 times already in the last couple of minutes, you know. The rules are there. If you don't want to race the rules, don't race at the events. And I mean, I'm sure that's the same deal here in Australia. I mean, you know, sure, we're trying to grow the sport here. Scotty Harker's just come on there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these guys, I mean, you know, we're not maybe to that degree yet, but, you know, once we start getting a lot more cars, I mean, you know, things will need to be done. Just to keep some sort of parity there, you know. I think John Sears just put on there about DXP 235 as well. What's he got there? Shane T coming on there?
I'm trying.
Sorry,
Shane said he's got plenty of time, so that's good, Shane. I'm glad you got time. And we can't bring you on yet because it's not giving me a green light yet. So I'm not sure why it's doing that. But
is he on his phone or is he on a tablet?
He's saying he's on his phone.
Can we refresh? Can we do something?
Maybe just
try refresh or get on and off.
Maybe just try refresh, Shane, and we'll bring you on board. Billy Driscoll,
the ticket taker.
Billy, it's unbelievable. That's if you don't know who Billy Driscoll is, man. He was one of the first racers to obviously race in the 275 class. He's part of the Duck XP crew. He makes sure that he lets you in the gate with Kay Belvin's, man, down in Georgia. And Billy and Patty, amazing family who welcomed us and our wives when we first started going to SGMP. So, man, Ticket Taker, make sure you like and follow the Ticket Taker, man, because he knows what it's all about. But guys, interesting stuff. And now that Scotty Harker's, you know, sort of tuned in, Scotty, I don't know if you caught a lot of that, but that was all about rule parity on 275, man, and it's a big thing in the US, as you've seen at the moment. But we're covering, you know, when money gets involved, it changes people, and we've got a bit more to talk about that later on. But yeah, we're just trying to get Shane on board. No, can't add Shane. Oh, hold on, where did he go? Maybe it might happen soon.
Jimbo Hatcher's on.
Jimbo Hatcher?
All the way from Dallas, Fort Worth, if I'm not mistaken. JCR Racing himself. Or JCR Wiring, I should say. Does a lot of the big Pro Mod Nitro stuff, Jimbo.
We'll just wait for Shane. Costa's watching. Simon O'Carroll. Awesome, man.
What's he right there? We are planning to trip to the States in 20 with a Notorious. What a dream and goal that would be to achieve as well, mate. Awesome stuff.
Notorious. you need some rap dancers next to you, man. Jacob, how are you? Unbelievable times. Big number there. 3344544. Absolutely.
Thanks,
unbelievable what these whinging bitches are doing in 275, man. But anyway, we'll just wait for Mr. Shane T. Now, while we're waiting, is Jarrod Wood still on? Yeah, there they are. Okay, cool. So, Jarrod, stand by. Have you looked at the spreadsheets for the classes? I'm here, boys, he says. Okay.
Where are we at? Shane T, where are you? He's in camouflage mode. Cameo mode. What's going
hold on. I've just seen now. Yeah.
There he is.
All right. Here we go. Woo! Shane T. Adding.
Mr. Motek, sir, welcome.
Finally got the technology worked out.
Mr. Motek, how are you, sir?
Hey, before we start, I want to remind you of something. We talked about this when I was in Australia, but I just got a reminder today on Facebook about the Ferrari at Bonneville.
Oh, I saw that.
years ago because that was at the World Finals, and I came straight from the World Finals down to Phoenix for the PSCA race. That's where I met you,
That's where we were with the Hastons, correct?
Right. That's right. Oh, and also, by the way, just I'm representing my boys down under today.
Yeah, buddy. There you go. Sorry, Justin. There you go. Big representation there.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
On the costume.
So, Mr. T, you've got a fantastic tan there from the last time we saw you, and thank you for joining us. Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks for joining us again. I know you're a busy man. You've been in between the salt flats and in between the SGMP race. Your thoughts on SGMP and congratulations on what you did with Daniel Pharris. I love the quote you gave us, which was you swung for it, and that's what the team was all about. You went there to win, and there was, you either win some or you lose some, but you definitely went there to win.
Yeah, obviously we went there to win, just like every other person that entered the class. But it's just a learning experience. Okay, so they were prepping the track. Wade, it does an I can't believe how good that track was in the middle of the day, particularly on race day. The track was way beyond what I expected round 2, and in the third round, and even in the semi. So I made my decision on what we were going to try to do in the final based on how the track was in the semifinal. And what happened was that the weather came, and they were in a major rush to run, all the final rounds. And so, where I made my mistake was I made the assumption they were going to prep the track the same way they had been doing, but they didn't have time to do it. So this is not me having to go at at the track prep. This is me learning that I need to not make my decision so hastily about what I'm going to do the next round. And the bottom line is that those guys had been hauling ass with that car all day long, Red and his team, and they ran an 09 in the semi, and we knew we needed to step up because the quickest we'd been is 13, and we never run better than an 11, so we don't know how to go an 09 or an 08 or 07. So I said, look, the odds are pretty good they're going 09 again. I think we need to try to go quicker than 09, and the track is going to be there, so therefore load all the weight in the nose of it, and I'm going to give it a rip, and we're either going to win or we're not, but I think this is what it's going to take. And the bottom line is when I walked up there and when they called us, which they were hustling, trying to get it done because the rain was coming. I totally get that. And that's part of racing, and it is how it is. When we got up there and I realized that's what they were doing and they weren't going to be able to prep it, I walked out on the track and went, oh, fuck, this is a problem because I don't think that the track is going to hold what I've tried to do with the car now. So I ran back to Grant and said, man, let's rip some of the weight off the nose, because at that point, there's nothing else we could do. They're literally start the cars and pull them into the water box. So we went back there and got one puck off of it, and it was like, you know what, just tighten the bolts. It's going to be what it is. And it went out there probably 20 feet and started spinning the tire, and that was a bad choice, bad decision on my part. It wasn't for lack of effort of anyone on the team. And I'll take full responsibility for it. But, at the end of the day, shit happens. Those guys, listen, I'm not, and by the way, I'm also not trying to belittle, their win. They were the class of the field during race day for sure. They ran some insane numbers during the heat of the day. We were racing our side of the ladder. We were not trying to race for low ET. We were trying to do what it would take for us to get to the final and deal with whoever we had in the final round. So we were trying to make conservative runs that we were trying not to beat ourselves until we got to the final. And so once again, hats off to those guys. They deserve the win. And even if the track had been exactly how it was in the semifinal, I'm not sure that we would have won. I'm not sure that the car would have gone down the racetrack. So it's just how it goes. That's it. We move on. The good news is that we've made it to the final, and I think that puts us near the top in points, if not at the top, and with one race to go. So that, with the eye on the ultimate goal of trying to win the championship, at the end of the day, winning the race wouldn't have made that much of a difference. I guess we'll know at the end of the next race how true that statement is or isn't. But at this point, I think if the goal is to win the championship, I think we kind of probably made the right move.
Well, look, firstly, thank you for your honesty. A lot of there's always a lot of people that give excuses as to why or why not. And, we had way more in it, and, either the boost controller fell off or the back tire welded together. And Shane, you were as honest as it comes. And look, it speaks volumes. Anyone who knows you knows that you call a spade, and you don't mince your words. And at the end of the day, you've got a championship that you're trying to win. And Daniel, one of the best drivers in radial racing globally. At the end of the day, to be number one going into the last round to win the championship, that's a pretty huge deal. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's for a car that never really ran radials in the US.
Yeah, that's right. We've never run on a track that was prepped like a radial track is prepped here in the States. And we've never run the car at the weight that it's at now with the turbos that are on it, with the tires that are under the back of it. We had bigger tires than this on not quite as good a track, so that could be equal if you want, but we certainly never ran it with the extra 250 pounds of weight that it's got in it and the 10 millimeter smaller turbos that it has on it. Shit. So we had to sort of learn all over again, and we started off in the right spot at the beginning of the year, and it's just been that tire. It's, first of all, it's amazing what that little tire will do, but it's every time you put a littler tire on, it seems like you're always stunned by what it will accept, but it's like its window is so small, you really have to manage it. It's not like you can spin the tire. It's not like you put a big tire on and then it would be easier. I'm not trying to say anything like that. I'm just saying that I'm stunned at what you can get away with the small tire, but it only works in a narrow, let's say, track preparation or grip range. When the track goes a little bit away, that tire comes off right away. So you have to manage it a bit more, I guess. But I'm surprised at what it can actually achieve.
Absolutely.
Shane, just quickly, where do you think you're going to end up with Daniel with that car? Is there something, a certain number, speed in your head that you guys are sort of targeting?
Honestly, this year, no. We've been just trying to win. We've just been looking at what we're running, what we think the track can hold, and what we think it's going to take to win, and try to run that number because he wants to win the championship. And so it is totally foreign to me to try and do that. I normally like to just fucking go for everything I can get, whatever I think the track can hold. But the problem with that is it's real hit and miss. It's real hero or zero. You're right like 10% of the time, and 90% of the time you're wrong. But for me, I mean, honestly, the racing gets in the way. What I want to do is I want to experiment with the car and see how fast I can make it. Exactly. And the racing stops me from being able to do that because I have to make a decision about whether or not I can win the race doing that. And, usually the answer is no. So it's a different approach. Yeah, it's a different mindset, racing versus just trying to go out and run fast. And me personally, I like the part of running fast. I like the challenge of playing with a car. I'd rather go honestly, I'd just rather go test the car than race it, because then it doesn't matter what you try. It's just a matter of, you can just do what logically makes sense. Don't have to think about the middle part of it or the chess match of trying to put points on. But anyway, he said he wanted to win, and so once he told me that that's what he wants to do, then I've been, and there's been a couple times where I've kind of had to say, listen, at the end of the day, I get it, but if you want to win, this is all it's going to take to win. So let's not risk it. Let's reduce our risk as much as we can and go out there and try and run what we think we know we can run. And man, if they put a number on the board and send us to the trailer, then more power to them.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Shane, just want to touch on, I'm pretty sure that's one of the only radial cars at the moment running the Motec drag radial package from Shane T's. I know there's some other cars out there that could possibly come into the class, but in that class itself, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if there's any RVW cars apart from Kyle's car that will be running the Motec 150 package that you put together in the drag radial spec. Can you just let us know about that package that you've put together just for the radial style racing?
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, nobody's running it in LDR, only the Lexus, and I have another customer who's running an X275 with a yellow Mustang, Sean Lyons, and then obviously Kyle's car would be the only RVW car that there is. But that stuff was born for those cars. I mean, the vehicle management system as I call it, because it is not only the engine management system for the fuel and the ignition, and obviously the boost control, and the staging control with the creep on the transmission, and it shifts the trans and it runs the lockup and it does all that stuff, but it also logs every sensor on the whole entire car into the ECU, and the ECU is the central nervous system, if you want, for the whole entire car. And it also incorporates obviously the driver display, the dash, and a power distribution module, which is the fuses and the relays in the car. And all of those systems work together with signals from every one of them back to each of the other ones in order to make a comprehensive system for the car. And that was invented out of necessity for EK's cards, because that's what he wanted to do with them. Right. And the system is the same on all of those cars that we ran over there. It's just got specific software written for the application. So, we do some things differently with the radial tire car than we do with a slick car. And so those functions don't exist in the opposite piece of software, if you want. So there's some special stuff. And the really, really, really powerful part of it for me is like, because I can write the code at the racetrack in the trailer, I can go make a run and then go, oh, what would be better is if we could control this now, based on some parameter. And then I'll just write the software real quick if it's something easy, and then compile it and stick it into the car. And we're literally running that new code down the racetrack next pass. And we did it at South Georgia Motorsports Park. And we've actually, I'm not sure that there's been a race that we've been to this year with Daniel's car where I haven't compiled the software at least one time to do some new feature that it didn't do before we got to the racetrack that weekend, based on what we could see happening on the racetrack while we were there. So that's incredibly powerful to be able to have that sort of flexibility at your fingertips at the racetrack.
Absolutely, and look, we saw it, as you alluded to, when you first started 8 years ago with sort of what you were doing with the Heston car, and I'm sure the sport's evolved specifically from there. But a lot of people aren't used to Motec as a name in the drag racing space of the radial scene. I believe that's all going to change now with what you're doing. So people just need to either message you or get onto your website and get your packages. Yes, it's not. It's definitely not going to be as cheap as a Haltech, but you're definitely going to have world class and world leading technology that's been proven by you time and time again. And
second to none reliability.
Oh, for me, it's second to none. What we saw you do with Kyle's car, Shane, is, in my opinion, that opened the eyes. You either need it or you don't need it, and then you either need to find the funds or you need to go and get a home loan. But at the end of the day, that's what's needed in the cars, because that's actually what's going to help you win.
Yeah, look, I mean, no one's ever accused Motec of being the cheapest thing there is, and no one ever typically buys one because of that. So, it is just a tool, and it's the tool that I've found that I can produce the results that the client wants me to produce if I'm allowed to use it. I wouldn't expect that you would go to some sort of a fabricator like, I don't know, Jerry Bickle, and tell him, listen, I want a car as good as you can build, but I want you to use Chinese knockoff welders and tools to build it with, because I don't want to pay what it costs.
Well said.
That how to make it come out the way that you know how to make it come out. So you wouldn't go to Gordon Ramsay and say, listen, Gordon, I want you to make me a killer steak, but I want you to use this meat that I got from the meat market down the street. That's the bargain meat market. You wouldn't do that. So that's kind of how it works for me with Motec. And I mean, look, I'm not interested in trying to sell it to people who are on a budget, because mostly people who are on a budget they have that in their mind throughout their whole entire car. Got people that buy Motec, they buy it because whether they're right or they're wrong, they buy it because they think it's the best thing that there is. And those kinds of people have that kind of a mindset from one end to the other of their car. They buy the best engine, they find the best guy there is to build the engine and the transmission and converter. And if you come up to one of those guys and say, hey, you know what, this fuel pump really isn't that good of a fuel pump, we need to switch to this other one, they go, oh, okay, and then they just buy it and put it on. The other guys that are looking for the bargains are finding the cheapest motherfucker there is to put the engine together with the cheapest fucking fine. And then no matter how fucking much you charge them to try, and you can't fix all those problems. So for me, it's a philosophical thing. That's just,
Yeah.
I've been able to be, knock on wood, fortunate enough to stay busy doing it that way for a while. So that's just sort of how I do it. Doesn't mean you can't win races with the other stuff, but it's just like, look, you want to use a Snap-on or a fucking Craftsman? I'd rather use a Snap-on.
Yeah, and that's a fair call. And Shane, I think Vic wanted to ask about the salt flats. Yeah.
Yeah, just want to touch on that. You could just sort of tell us, or tell the guys as well, what actually just happened on the weekend there. Pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, man, the salt. So, the salt is like, normally the salt would be like racing on snow maybe, or racing on loose gravel. And it's been that way for several years, and the weather affects that to some degree. And there's also a mining company across the road from the salt flat that mines the salt and takes the potash out of it, and then is supposed to put the salt back out on the salt flat, but they haven't necessarily been doing that in the last few years. So anyway, some people got a hold of some people in the EPA and got the government to step in and force them basically to pump the salt back out there. So I don't know if that's the reason why. The salt this year was better than, I mean, the only time I ever saw it this good was probably 2011 or 12, but I never saw it as good as it just was earlier this week. When we went to Speed Week, which is the first sort of big event of the season in August, man, the salt, you can tell when you walk on it, it doesn't stick to your feet. Normally it sticks to your feet. I mean, the more you walk on it, the taller you get. Your shoes just clump up salt sprays all over the inside of the fender wells of the cars that are pushing the race cars. The race cars have salt all over them. Everything, it's all over the inside of the trailer. At Speed Week this year, it was like, you could tell right away that something was different than normal. Even when you drive off the road in your rental car, it's like really smooth. And we made some of the first runs at Speed Week, and I'm like, man, something's wrong with the fucking shock pots because there's no movement in them. And like there's the vertical G sensors, something's wrong with that too. And the load cells in the front wheels, something's wrong because they're just a flat line, And then I realized, no, they're a flat line because it's not bumpy when I watched the video. You can see the driver's compartment, from last year, which was what I thought was normal, is kind of bounce, conk, conk, conk. This year, it's like, looks like we're just sitting here how we are right now. There's no movement. So it was, and so as another example of how good the salt was, like last year with Speed Demon specifically, we ran that thing with an exit speed, which would be like the same as the speed you get at the end of a quarter mile in a speed trap, an exit speed of 453 miles an hour. But to achieve that, we were spinning the tires. We were spinning the tires until 4 miles. At 4 miles, the tire finally got a hold of the salt from downforce, and the car accelerated to 453. This year, the car at Speed Week was done spinning the tires at 2 miles. Okay, and we made several runs. We had lots of shit go wrong. And it was like, a laundry list of shit went wrong. But we were able to make one run under power in that condition, and it exited at 464.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay, so 11 mile an hour faster. Now, when we were there this Tuesday and unloaded the car and made our first run, it stopped spinning the tires at 1 mile.
Wow.
Whoa.
It was 31 miles an hour faster than the 464 pass at the second mile.
Wow.
Right.
Brother, you would have done it.
We saying the 500? Yes, sir.
No, I don't think it would not have gone 500. I don't think. I think it would have gone. It probably would have exited around 485 or 490.
Yeah, 490. Man.
Hold on. And let's just explain. That's piston powered.
Piston powered, two wheel drive, rear wheel drive.
Motec
Only 2 drive wheels.
Small block.
Twin turbo small block. LS engine if you want.
That's awesome.
88. So the car that went 500, which there has never been a wheel driven car go 500 anything. Now the exit speed is nice, but it really doesn't have any bearing on records when you're out at the salt flats, because they use your average in the timed miles between the 2 and the 3, the 3 and the 4, and the 4 and the 5. Yeah. So your exit speed is always typically higher than your average for that last mile. But there has never been a car driven by wheels that's even exited over 500 miles an hour until Tuesday morning, about 45 minutes after we ran. The turbine powered, so it's got a helicopter engine powered car, all-wheel drive, went
503 out the back door with a 493 mile an hour average in that 5th mile. So that was, I mean, seeing that was like, dude, hair standing up on your arms and like on the back of your neck, and you get chills and tingles. I mean, that was an awesome part of automotive history to witness. Certainly we would have liked to have been able to do it, but I mean, just to see it done at all was amazing. And hats off to Team Vesco. They've been trying to do that for what seems like 100 years. And they finally seem to be able to make headway with that car, and they ran really fast, and they deserve, all the credit for doing that.
The only thing is, but that's a jet powered engine.
It's a turbine, right? It has a shaft that drives the wheels, so it's not just a jet car,
Right.
like your traditional jet dragster would be, just a jet propelled by thrust only, not by the wheels. Their car is propelled by the wheels. They have a turbine like a helicopter, so there is a jet exhaust coming out the back, but that turbine turns a shaft that normally would turn the rotors to lift the helicopter up.
Right.
Instead,
Okay.
it turns
Yep.
the driveline for the car and turns the wheels. So it does turn the wheels. It is wheel driven. And I mean, it's fucking magical no matter what. But having said that,
Awesome. Fucking crazy, man. But for me, a Duttweiler built small block that was 30 mile an hour more on the 2nd mile, and we know, because we've seen your video, we know the data, right? We know what that means, man. And I don't think people understand.
Just to put it in perspective, they ran on that run, and they can probably run better than this. But on that run where they went 503. They ran 311 miles an hour at the 2nd mile.
Wow.
We ran 312.
Now, when are you going back?
To put this in the context of drag racing, this is the equivalent of saying Mark Mickey ran 362, but he only went 986 60-foot time, and I just went 965 60-foot time. Therefore, you know what I mean? Because 60-foot doesn't really translate into what the end result is necessarily, but we're in the right ballpark. Let's put it that way. If we can make one all the way to the other end next year and the salt's like it is, I don't know what would stop us from going 500.
Oh, that'll be awesome. When just lastly on that, when are you going back? Is there any sort of meeting or anything in between Bonneville again next year, September, August, or you're just going to wait out?
So no, this is the last event, and the event got canceled because of rain. So after we ran, at the end of the day, we were ready to run again, but the rain came and it flooded the thing out, and that's it. We're done until next season. So we got some work to do, but we got some time to get it done in. And so if the salt's going to be like it is, it'll be a horsepower war to the other end. And so it's going to be, run what you brung and hope you brung enough.
That's it. Just quickly on that engine, that come out of Duttweilers, was it? That motor?
Yeah, so that's what's classified as an A-class engine, which is allowed to be anywhere from 440 to 540 cubic inches. So that's an A category engine. It's a 443 LS, and it's twin turbo. We got twin 88 millimeter precision turbos on it, and it runs methanol. And so our category is A for the engine size, and then B for blown, because it's got a turbo or a supercharger on it. In this case, turbo. And then F for fuel, because it uses something other than gasoline, and then S for streamliner. So the category is A BFS or A blown fuel streamliner.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome, man. Shane, firstly, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time. Just a little bit on Kyle's car. Kyle's announced his schedule. Obviously, you're a huge part of that, as well as Justin from JW and yourself and everyone involved with that program. But look, we're going to be coming over to obviously see that car compete, and eventually my car will be competing there as well. But I'm sure you're excited to see Kyle's car on a track on US soil. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. I'm totally excited.
Now, before we get Kyle on, because we're going to get Kyle on a bit later, we've got some of the Aussies that are about to join us as well. I want you to tell the viewers what you thought when you walked into Justin's shop and you saw the state of Kyle's car. Did you think that car was going to be racing on the Saturday?
Two words came to my mind.
Oh,
Fuck
shit.
me
And that's that. You should just drop the microphone at this point. um, so when that went through your head, and then you realised that Vic and I were coming, so that was going to probably be a distraction rather than an assistance.
I wasn't doing much work.
We only touched converters.
Maybe the converter at
One of the
4
most
a.m.
epic barbecue in recent memory. Come here, Bill. Hey, while I've got you on just for a second, I just wanted to introduce one of my assistants, up and coming. This is my daughter Bella.
Hello.
So that's
Bella.
Vic. And Vic's got the big chain around his neck, that big necklace. Yep, see that? That's Vic. And then that's Sam over there with the hat on. These are my friends from Australia, but they're doing a little bit of an interview, so we'll take care of that thing when we get finished with this, okay?
Okay.
All right. So yeah.
Bella can sit with you, man, because she's junior T now when it comes to the Motec.
That's right. That's right.
And we'll try and refrain from swearing because there are children at this stage. But just
if she can deal with me, then I think you're in good shape.
So just explain. 24 hours past that point, you've seen that Michael Ahern he's wiring hundreds and hundreds of wires. They're still welding in the car. They're still doing stuff. They're doing windows. They're doing all that stuff. Where was your thought process? And I know you brought the team together. You got everyone into a huddle and you said, guys, this is what we need to do. This is where we need to be at. When did it change for you to be, okay, this is maybe possible, to, okay, we're racing on Saturday?
I think I knew 100% it was possible when we were on the way to the track. But when I listen, hang on. I mean, look,
that's the truth. Yeah.
It was an epic journey, and there was a lot of stuff left to do on the car. But I mean, honestly, this is not any different than any other car in any other kind of racing venue on any other continent in this world. I mean, I have done at least that and maybe more than that in Bahrain with more than one car at a time. I have done that in sports car series racing in Grand Am. I mean, it's just how it goes sometimes. So, I figured, like, look, worst case, then we're going to come down here. If we can't go to the track because we don't get it done, we'll at least go through every single thing we can. We had the opportunity to use that mainline 5000 Pro 5000 hub dyno that Justin has. And I thought to myself, like, worst case, we'll run this thing on the dyno, get it tuned, get everything checked out, and they'll have to run it after we leave. And then, we would talk every day. Okay, how much work do we actually have to do? And like, I know how long it takes. So I would ask them, but I kind of knew anyway. And I was telling Daniel, I'm like, all right, look, so here's the deal. I don't see a point in going to the racetrack if we're not going to get a whole day's worth of testing done. If we're going to struggle and go to the racetrack and show up and have one run and then they're going to not run anymore, we're going to learn less there than if we stay and just run the thing on the dyno here. So exactly. I probably all the days ran together, but I would say by about Thursday, I started trying really hard to figure out how we could simulate the runs on the dyno, because I knew we were not going to get any test time. I knew the odds of us being finished the next day and going to the racetrack and making runs before. The other thing is, luckily, I don't think anybody told me that we weren't going to get Sunday until about Friday, because otherwise I would have been freaked out even more. But,
God damn it!
Yeah.
God damn it!
That is exactly.
God damn it!
They'll know. Anybody who's watching that knows will know what that's all about. Anyway, so I think that the saving grace of the whole deal was being able to run it on the dyno, because we certainly couldn't have done what we did on the racetrack had we not done that. At the very least, like, look, the perfect example of running it on the dyno and having it be a benefit, aside from tuning it, which honestly we didn't need. It's supposed to make 5 pounds of boost. The first dyno pull, it made 37 pounds of boost. So, it's like, tune-up was fine already anyway, because I had calculated it all before anyhow. So I was about 95% chance I was going to have it right. And then we kind of stepped into it sooner than I wanted to, but it worked out. And then the next run, it's down fucking 1,000 horsepower. And it's like,
that converter would tell.
The crank trigger fell off. I mean, it came loose and slid. So that would have been one run wasted on the racetrack. And who knows how long before we figured out what it was.
because it was on the dyno, I looked at the data and looked at the ECU, and that's one other reason I really like Motec, because it does a really good job of letting you look at everything going in and out of the ECU, so you can tell when something's wrong. But anyway, I happened to notice in the data, like, now something's wrong with the crank trigger. It's got a bunch of errors for shit. I'm not even sure I went to look. I think I told Daniel go look, and he's like, oh yeah, it's fallen off. Like, okay, well then that's probably what's wrong with it. And when we did, once we put that back on, then we were great. Nothing else came. And honestly, like, to do the amount of work that all of Kyle's guys and Justin's guys put into that car in that short amount of time with no sleep. And if I recall right, we had no fuel leaks, no water leaks.
No,
we had one
nothing.
small oil leak because one fitting came loose, but that's to be expected. You've made 1,000 connections, and to have just one come loose. And then we had the crank sensor bolts come loose, and it didn't fall on the ground, but it came loose. And then we fit. And other than that, there was nothing had screwed up. I mean, that's a test skill and dedication of all of those guys down there working on that car. And that goes for Michael doing all the wiring on something he'd never wired a Motec before. He took my pin chart out of Excel that I sent him, and he understood it enough to make it happen on that end with not one single error, which is I can't even do that. I can't even do that. It's just like a perfect. So that's why it was so awesome to be a part of it, and having you guys there as, like, I don't know, team support or comic relief or whatever you were, but you were definitely feeding us left, right, and center. And let me say it this way: you were keeping the morale up, because anytime anyone looked like determined, or let me say deterred, not determined, but if deterred, man, you would show up with coffee, or you would go to McDonald's for the 75th time, or you would go down and get more lamb, or just anything. Just show up with beer, or just everything you guys did. I think everyone so appreciated, and I don't know that we would have made it without you guys doing that.
Oh, look, Shane, man, we're racers, man. We got our own cars. We got our own programs. Vic, Vic's done that for me. We've gone, just before a race meeting, and we didn't even know if the car was even going to start. But we know that this guy at 4 a.m. was changing the converter. So look, it has to be. Everyone's just got to do what it takes. You're world class. You've worked in some of the best and fastest cars in the world. I don't care. That's just the truth. Some people may not like it, but that's reality. And at the end of the day, we wanted to, assist in giving Kyle the best shot to achieve his dreams, man. And he had a big dream. He brought a big team together, and we were just a small part, but we were very happy to be part of it and see you again anyway.
Yeah, you and me both, man. It was awesome. It was, like, I think Daniel summed it up perfectly, and he just said it put a stamp on our lives that I don't know that any of us that were involved with it will ever forget. And I don't know that any of us could fully put into words what it meant to be a part of it. So I'm just glad I got to be a part of it. And, hopefully we can kind of carry that momentum when the car comes here and do the things with it. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, the guys that came over to No Mercy this time, I mean, they definitely carried the banner high for Australia. I mean, they had some really good success. Jet ran some really awesome numbers, went past round one. He went deeper in eliminations they thought he would go. And then just last night, he went 384. So, up at PDRA in Virginia. So he's really, and Wade came and qualified with the 57. And I mean, dude, honestly, you guys put on an awesome showing, and it was cool. For me, I had some clients there from England, the MPH race team. They're building a CUDA with a water jacketed Noonan Hemi for Street Eliminator in the UK. So Street Eliminator is almost like Radial, only don't prep the track for radials, and you have to drive the cars around on the road and use pump gas.
That's pretty
cool.
Cool.
But they built a water jacketed Noonan Hemi, and it's pretty much a drag radial car. I mean, and they saw what we were able to do with Kyle's car, and he's using one of my systems also, but that just put another little vote of confidence in his, on his side of it. And they were there at No Mercy, and they saw the Lexus. And so it was cool, man, to have people from everywhere, people from Scotland and people from England and people from Australia. And it was just neat.
And look, I think Donald's got a good melting pot of an atmosphere happening there. And, there's a lot of investment happening in Australia, as you've seen. We're stepping it up. We've got the guys from Kenda that are, they're really, that's the premium race in Australia. And that's why we're supporting them, Shane, because obviously we need it to be growing here, because that brings sponsors, that brings technology, that brings, more money to the table, which means we can push and go further.
And more races joining.
But for us, it's always been about racing in the US, and seeing the Aussies do that made us very, very proud. We know what that track's all about, and we're definitely going to be part of the journey, and definitely see you with Kyle's car, hurting some feelings.
Well, I should hope so. I think it would be rude not to do, wouldn't it be?
Absolutely. Well, mate, you have a beer for us, and thank you so much for your time. Say hi to Heidi and Bella for us as well, and we thank you for your time. And again,
we salute you, Mr. T.
God bless Mr. T. God bless America.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys. Thank you too. God bless the USA, and God bless Australia too, huh? Have some. Make sure to have some Vegemite, but be sure you put butter on the toast before you have it, huh?
We will, and not too much Vegemite, as Po Tung taught you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. He told me how to get my Vegemite lambda correct, so I appreciate it.
You got that. Have a good one, man. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well,
Well, ladies and gents, that was actually a good segue from Shane T. But firstly, thank you to Shane T. And again, thank you to John Sears, the father of radial racing. But Shane T, guys, as you said, we met Shane T 8 years ago in person with the Duttweiler crew in Heston Motorsports. And at the end of the day, it's been a very good friendship. We've seen him a few times. Oh, there's Vasily. Say hi, Vasily.
say hello.
Say hi to them. See you, Jen. Thank you. So again, Shane, thank you so much, and again, regards to your family. Great segue, Vic, because now we're going to be joined by the boys that did it for us, right? They did it for the Aussies. We've got
Wade.
We've got Wade. We've got Jarrod coming on board. Now, firstly, guys, a huge congratulations to Jet Martin. Jet sent me a message the other day because I was trying to bloody get in touch with him to get him on board. He's racing at the moment, and he's at the PDRA, right? And we didn't want to detract from that because Jet's in full race mode. But firstly, I'm sure on behalf of everyone that's going to show this to Jet, congratulations, Jet, on what you've achieved with the Commodore, man. It's a Commodore, and it's kicking ass over there. 384 at 199 or 198 or something like that. It was crazy, man. Absolutely crazy what you are doing with Josh Ledford. So, Jet Martin, to see the Australian flags competing at that level for Victor and I, that was
Awesome.
That was awesome, man.
Awesome,
it was awesome for us.
Makes
to
your
see.
hair stand up on the back of your neck. Feel very proud of you fellow guys here doing that.
It really does, man. And guys, we're going to have Jarrod on, and Jarrod obviously being the first person to run a 3 on radials in Australia. That's huge. And then, we're going to have Wade. Now, Wade, and I'll just put it into perspective. So the fastest guy on radials in the world is a gentleman named Mark Mickey, right? That car is the best of the best.
Big Dick Mick.
Big Dick Mick, they call him, because he ran 221 on a radial, right? I'm going to put it out there. The first qualifying pass that Wade Wagstaff had in the United States at the biggest one of the biggest radio events was against Mark Mickey. And then
I don't know what pressure is, mate.
Oh, that's pressure.
Jeez,
that's pressure. But someone who really got thrown into the pressure cooker at the moment was Jarrod Wood. So we're going to bring Jarrod Wood on in a moment.
He's at he went over for the race, and
before we do that, we got Mark Jordan Peck. Mark, thank you, brother. He goes, I'm in the shed building the diff for the VL with the feed through surround sound. Fuck the neighbours. Fuck the neighbours. All right, so
what a car for the VL.
Absolutely, for a VL, right? So
that's the Aussie Ferrari, mate.
Claire and Jarrod, can you make sure you're on your mobile device, because I can't bring you on board yet. But if you can do that, that'll be great. And we'll bring you on board the minute that happens.
But yeah, what a story for Jarrod, eh? Flew over.
So
bit of a circumstance over there as well. For
huge circumstance, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Jarrod explain that.
It was pretty full on. Most people, I don't know if they know what
I
actually happened.
don't think people know.
Pretty serious things.
We're going to tell them Jared's going to tell them how serious, right? And no disrespect at all, but one of the things that everyone needs to be aware. I don't think Jarrod was meant to be driving.
Correct.
At that race.
He was just going over to, I think, crew with Mullins there and supporting the TKM guys.
Absolutely, right. So we got Claire and Jarrod. How you going, man? Are you on your mobile? If not, can you get on your mobile, dude, so I can join you, because I can't join you. Other than that, maybe reset it or do something, man, just so I can bring you on board, get back on, and we'll bring Claire and Jarrod on. So while Jarrod's doing that, so as I was saying, guys, Jarrod had just run the 3-second pass here, and he's gone over. He had already planned to go over there, and it wasn't to race. It was to simply crew spectate, get a feel for it, because as you guys saw, we were on a live feed, and Donald Long gave Jarrod an invitation to the 316, which Kyle Hopf was invited to as well. And so Jarrod's gone over there to race in, as you saw, we had John Sears on, the most competitive class in radial in 275. So let's bring him on now without further ado. The Jarrod Wood is about to join us now. As Jarrod joins us, guys, we're going to have an initiative running with Jarrod very shortly as well. So make sure you guys tune in. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Week and a month, sorry, and we're going to do something with Jarrod. So we're just adding Jarrod now. Hit the connect button, brother, when you can.
He's trying to add up there. It's flashing.
He's in Mackay at the moment, so I'm not sure how much reception there is.
He might have half a G up there. Or
he might have half a bar.
1 G. You got him?
We're adding. It says we're adding. Love the tech, man.
Unbelievable. Everybody's thinking, what are we doing?
Everyone's thinking, what are we doing? But we're just waiting for Jarrod to get online.
We just lost 480 people.
Oh, man.
No, but that was, yeah, look, like you said, let him tell everybody what happened.
Yeah, I'll
People
let
know what happened.
Jarrod say, you know, what's sort of going on there.
Mullins and the whole deal, but
It was trying to add you, man. Do whatever you just did again, and we'll get you on. But yeah.
while we're waiting, I'll ask a question. Does anybody know who was one of the first guys ever on radials? Obviously in the USA.
Who was?
He's still around today.
Okay.
He's still around today.
That's a big
not at all
question.
the events, but I've seen him at a couple of events. You know, he's been spectating the last couple. He's got a black Mustang.
Black Mustang.
Black Mustang.
Fuck, man, there's like a million Black Mustangs.
Well, come on, man. What do you want? You want me to just give his name?
Well,
Does anybody know? What are we going to do? What are we going to give away?
do these guys know who he is? Let's we'll give away something. We'll give away something. So
We'll come back to it.
we'll come back to it.
Black Mustang, one of the first guys, one of the pioneers, fathers of radial racing.
Let's see if it works, man. We're adding you again, Jarrod. Technical difficulties, I gather.
Oh, man. Just, what do we got on? Scott Arcart, Wagstaff.
Dave Hance, no.
No. Brad Edwards, no. Dave Hance did do some stuff.
He did do, but no.
Not Dave Hance. Jeez, I wonder where Dave Hance is these days. Jeez, he was running fast for a while there, wasn't he? That's going back in 08, 09, I remember. New York Motorsports.
New York Motorsports. We're trying to add Jarrod. It says adding, but I don't know if that's going to work at the moment.
Big Daddy Dwayne Guthridge. Who's that?
Who?
Matt V, you are the man.
Yes, mate.
You are the man.
How did you know that, Matt?
How did he know that? Big Daddy, Dwayne Guthridge. Jeez. Wow. Matt V. What are we going to give the guy, man? That's pretty big. Yeah, Dwayne Guthridge there. He's got that small block twin turbo deal. I remember when he first ran a 790 back then and people were laughing at him like, what's this bloke doing on radio at a comp meeting? I think we went to his shop in 08. 07 was it, Sam? Jeez, it's going back a few years now. But yeah, Dwayne Guthridge, Big Daddy.
Well, we met him.
Yes, we've been twice there to the shop, a couple of events with him.
Perry Bullivant says hello.
Perry Bullivant, Mr. Snickers.
I'm going to try for the third time.
I'm doing the bloody Snickers right now.
Fuck, I need a Snickers too with all this bloody tech, man.
Hold
on, it's just
Here
connecting.
we go. Don't move.
Oh, fuck, there he is, man.
Don't move.
Gentlemen,
You're the wrong way, man.
what do you mean? Go the other way.
Yeah, there you are.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, jeez, man, we didn't know if we were going to get you up there in Mackay there. We didn't know what the story was.
Oh, she's tough up here.
Not tougher than your 399, but.
That's it, bro. Boom.
Hey, boom. First of the threes.
Yeah.
Jarrod, again, man, firstly, congratulations on what you achieved over there. And I'm sure you were very proud to see all those Aussies competing, man, with Jet Martin, man, and Wade Wagstaff doing what they did. But, mate, we were just doing an intro while we were trying to get you on, brother, about you weren't actually meant to be racing when you went there. And some pretty serious situation about the circumstances behind that. And you don't have to get too detailed on the personal stuff, but if you can just let some of the viewers know, man, well, you just run your 3-second pass Kevin Mullins flew back, and then you were going to go fly back, 2 weeks later to see what was happening there in Georgia. Mate, what transpired for you to jump in that badass Jeep that we saw you wheeling down with the wheels up? What happened, and what made you have to get behind the wheel, man?
Well, we got over to America, and he got a phone call from Kevin, and he was actually in hospital. He had to have open heart surgery, so he sort of said, "Look, to Bill, throw Jarrod in the seat. He can do it. He can drive. He can tune it." So he put all faith in us, and we had Cornbread there, so me and Cornbread just winged it on a new setup, and man, we done pretty well. We went, I think we qualified number 10 in that field. We went 4:45, so it was pretty good effort. And the fuel tech guys, Anderson, Omar, Kevin rang them and said, "Look, can you just go and see the boys and make sure they're good?" So they were a real good help for us, and yeah, we got that car down, and we turned some heads too, so it was good.
Oh man, firstly, we know all about that track and how bad it gets at No Mercy with the heat and then the rain, and that's always that track always holds moisture even if it rains and it's dried a million times. Yeah, 100%, man. So on that Jeep, man, to do what you were doing and the speed and the way it was carrying the tire, and I don't know what the 60 foots actually were, man, but I'm sure they were pretty damn good from that car. But mate, Kevin Mullins with open heart surgery. Firstly, can you tell everyone Kevin's all right? He's recovering. What's the story there?
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He's back up. He's been walking around. He texted me last night. So, yeah, he's coming good. It's going to be a long road, but yeah, he's a strong character. So, he'll be right. He'll be back out there in no time.
Mate, that's great to hear. So, please, again, pass on our well wishes. We've messaged Laura as well, but mate, I'm sure it's tough. They're a very close, tight-knit family. And even at the workshop, everyone's really close as well, Jarrod. So, again, pass on our congrats. So tell us, man, what did it feel? 275, one of the biggest classes in the world, man. You were competing against, the best of the best there. What the hell was going through your head at that time?
I'm not really sure. It was sort of jump in and just give it a shot. So we actually drove pretty well. I was cutting a pretty good light. Yeah, we sort of mixed it with those guys, Charles Hull and Ron Rhodes and that. Like, they're fast, but they've been doing it a long time. So to come from here and only been driving like a radial car for 12 months, like, we've done a pretty good job. So we're pretty glad. We keep them proud.
What was the fastest you ran in that car?
4:45.
Wow. What sort of 60 and speed did you get to?
I think it went 4:45 at 163.
Wow.
And it went a 160, and then because it was so hard to tune, the last pass, or the last the second elimination, we had Charles Hull, and we brought it up on boost in the pits, and it made what we were targeting. And then when we went out to the track, the rain was coming, so it cooled off a lot. We probably should have put weight on the front, but it made 11 psi on the hit. It took it, but yeah, just wheel stand, so I had to get out of it.
Could you just tell us quickly what motor's in that? Where's it from?
It's a new Gen 3 Hemi, one of them 16 plug deals.
Yep.
Kevin put it together. He's the brains behind the engine. So yeah, it was running strong all weekend. So it's got a Paramount build. He built the transmission. That's what he does for a living. So yes, he done the 400 in it, and yeah, it was pretty much bulletproof all weekend. So
no, awesome stuff there.
Now, Jarrod, we've been talking, right? And it is Breast Cancer Awareness Week this week, but we've also got another guest on, Kyle, who is near and dear to him, but looking to maybe do something as a give back to the community. And mate, you sent me this beautiful photograph that you guys have put together.
Of the collage.
It's a collage, and I believe you gave that to Kevin Mullins, yeah? Which was
we gave it to Kevin. So thank you for all his help and support. He got that while he was in the hospital. So we got another one there. We just want to sort of, I don't know, maybe bid it off and then give the money to breast cancer, because it is breast cancer awareness. Every little bit helps. So yeah. That's
absolutely. So I enjoyed speaking to you when you got back, and Vic and I, mate, Vic's been obviously Jen's just gone through cancer as well, mate. So this is near and dear to us, very much so, especially breast cancer. So what we're going to do is this. Everyone just saw that photo. I'll put it up one more time, and I'll actually put it on the website, right? But here's what we're going to do, Jarrod, with your blessing, if possible. We're going to get you to sign it. And you know those live bidding auctions? It's not live, like the auction sites where people put 2 turbos and you buy a couple of tickets and then you run it for 2 weeks and then it automatically selects the winner.
Yep.
We're going to do that with your photo, right?
Yeah, excellent.
So we're going to have the ticket to be $100. I think every freaking racer out there can afford $100, right? So I'm going to put $100 in. I won't speak for Vic, but I'm sure Vic will put $100 in, right? We'll buy a couple of tickets, right? And then everyone's going to buy some tickets. We'll finish it at the end of the month. And what we want to do is raise as much money as possible, right?
Yep.
So if you donate the $100, Jarrod, what we'll do is we'll then give the money to yourself. You can take that money and we'll create a check, whatever you want, and we'll give that to the Breast Cancer Foundation. I know Kyle will say that if you donate to that, then he'll give you a shirt as well. I don't know if you got any shirts or any stuff as well, Jarrod.
We've got some stubby holders and some shirts coming, so we'll have stubby holders next week. They're limited edition too, so it'll be good.
Great. So what we're going to do, even if because we've only got one of these photos, right? So it's I think it's 1 meter by just under a meter. Is that right?
Yeah, I might be a meter by 900 or something.
Right.
That's
So
quite
1 meter
large,
by 1 meter by 900, right? And there you go. Already we got Speedy Diffs will donate $200, right? So
Sammy Tompkins got 100.
Sammy Tompkins got 100, right? So here's what we're going to do.
100.
You know, like we got $500 already, man. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
we'll have 20 or 30 spots where you can enter into. You can buy as many tickets as you want, right? And then everyone's going to get something, is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to put together some packs. Everyone who donates is going to get something from someone, one of the big racers out there, and we're going to raise some money for breast cancer. It's very near and dear, and Jenny's on here. And just so you know, Jarrod, Vic's wife, Jenny, just went through breast cancer, man. So it's emotional for us, and I really thank you for what you and Claire wanted to do, because it's something we were thinking about anyway, and someone's going to own a piece of history, right? So, Vic, while I'm doing that, if you wanted to just take over there, I'll just get that photo back up.
Yes, just on that. So as Sam said, we'll get the thing rolling at the end of the show there. We'll put it up on that VJet27 page. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah. So
we'll get it on the page there, and
we can share it around. That'd be good.
100%.
Absolutely. It probably won't be on by the end of the episode because
just show that photo.
It takes a while. So if you're listening, right, that's what's going to be the main prize. And hopefully we'll get Jarrod to sign it, and we'll work out all the freight, man. Like, I'll pay for the freight. I don't have a problem. But
we can sort it out.
That's history, guys. In Australia, that's history. Jarrod was the first 3-second radial pass, and for us, it's huge. So that's what's going to be up for grabs, and we'll do that for the auction, right? So it probably won't be on straight after the show. Probably this afternoon, we'll post a link and then get everyone to share it. And here's what we're going to do. So you're going to enter and buy a ticket. It'll be $100 for one ticket, and you can buy multiple tickets. We'll either do 20 or 30 spots, and then it automatically draws the winner, right? So we'll probably have it going for a couple of weeks, get as much money as we can and raise for breast cancer. And then if you've paid for a ticket, we will make sure that you guys are getting t-shirts, stubby coolers, whatever it is, right? We'll make sure someone walks away with everything. It's for a great cause.
When they enter, is there a place where they can say what size shirt, like large, extra large? Or...
Oh, look, what we'll do is we'll message every single person, and every single person that buys a ticket, we'll message them, we thank them, and then we'll ask for the details of shirt sizes and stuff, so you guys aren't wasting, and then they'll get like a little radial pack. But Jarrod, brother, for us it hit home when you asked me that, because we were running around thinking about what we were going to do, and mate, you and Claire, we want to thank you very much for bringing that to the attention of us, man. We're a small family, the radial racers in Australia, man. So, a lot of people don't get that, but, mate, big things. And I think you just saw now, life's very short. You saw with Kevin, out of nowhere, one of the biggest surgeries you can ever have. And look, thank God he's all right. But, mate, tell us about the car. The car's heading over, yeah?
Yeah, so we just made a box now to put the spare motor in. So she's all packaged up. Dad will leave Mackay Sunday and grab the car from Brizzy, and I think it leaves on the 19th of October.
So the car will leave on the 19th of October?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so things are happening pretty fast for you, mate.
Yep, it'll get over there. Hopefully, it'll be there by Christmas. And we'll get the new fuel tech and get all that white at Christmas. Put the FT Spark on, and yeah, things are looking up. So.
Okay, so you'll be doing some upgrades, yeah? So brand new fuel tech going in there, FT Spark, fuel tech obviously. You know, I'm sure they're big supporters of you, but they're coming to the party.
Yeah, Anderson's great. We spoke to Anderson at SGMP, so he's sort of come up with a plan. So we'll get the 600 in it, new loom, FT Spark on there, and yeah, we'll go from there. We've seen what Diffs car done yesterday, so that was a small block billet deal that Kevin built as well. So yeah, he's at the top of the game, I believe. So that'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
I hear the rumour mill you got a new driver for the car over there. His name's Sammy Tompkins.
Yeah, oh damn, where is he? Yeah, he'll be driving, he reckons. He's a good steerer too. So
yeah, he is, man. He is. He's one of the best out there, man.
One of the hardest workers out there, mate.
Absolutely.
They are the whole lot of them, man. I had a ball over there. I got there on the Sunday and built an exhaust for Cornbread's Mustang. So yeah, we had a bit of fun. Cruised around in Sammy's new Mustang. Went and seen Kevin up the hospital. So yeah, it's always a laugh with them boys.
Yeah, it's always a laugh, man.
Excellent.
So, what events will you be entering the Red Rocket into, man? What's the game plan? You know, tell us, you've got some shirts coming. You know, guys, we need to start buying t-shirts from these races, man. The t-shirt sales are you know, they're not going to fund a brand new car, mate, but it funds racing these cars, and we need to help out these Aussie races going over there, man. So, tell us what's the schedule, and how can we start buying some of your gear, man?
We're just going to focus on the Sweet 16. Like, we're going to get 10 qualifiers. Like me and Kevin sat down, we got a game plan. Like, first of all, is for him to get better, so that's number one priority. And then number two will be get ready for Sweet 16. With 10 qualifiers, I think we focus on that and just push forward from there.
Okay, so Sweet 16, that's March 22nd?
1 to 24.
Yeah, okay, so 21 to 24.
Be a good birthday present on the 24th to win that 101,000.
Well, brother, my birthday's on the 22nd, so you can shout me a birthday cake too. So here's the story, right? So that's $100,000. You're going to go there. You got a spare motor going 101,000.
101.
And I think it's going to go higher.
It will,
so,
yeah.
You know,
101.
there'll be some grudge racing, and you know.
101's 50 for the 275. You never know. You might be driving the 275 thing as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
We might be done.
Hey man, that's like 150 you can come home with.
That's a long
so
shot.
That's two birthday cakes for me. I'm just putting it out there. So Jarrod, any other races that the car's going to do, or then it'll come back and you'll race Kenda yet?
Well, we'll see how we go. I wouldn't mind doing a bit of Lancer stuff, the Carolina no time stuff while we're there. It'll all depend, you know. Like, you're going to be pushing the car to its limits, so you got to expect stuff's going to break, you know. Like, that's just part and parcel of racing. So we'll see how much carnage we have and see how we go, and then we'll plan from there, you know.
Absolutely. So Jarrod, your merchandise, you're obviously building merchandise, and in the US, man, I'm sure when you take merchandise, it's going to sell like hotcakes. I mean, you saw it, Georgia, just people buy t-shirts left, right, and center just to say they bought a t-shirt. It's incredible, right? And it's incredible how many t-shirts you can sell. So if you can tell everyone, man, how people can start getting a hold of your merchandise, both here and in the US, and we'll plug it as much as we can, man, to help generate some income for you guys to at least pay for fuel and, you know, some birthday cakes.
Birthday cakes. Oh, so we're just Claire and Jarrod on Facebook. We can post something up. And
cool.
Our page on Instagram's On Gas, which was our first little venture of a street car for drag challenge. So it's the HQ 1-tonner.
Yeah, I saw that, man, and I've seen that pretty badass little car there as well, man. So that's for some of your street duties, I guess, as well as racing duties.
Yeah, that's the street car. So it's a big debate, the old street car, but anyway, it all comes down to the biggest balls to drive, really. So.
Pretty awesome stuff, man. So when's your all your merchandise sort of going to be ready, man?
We should have stubby holders next week. They should be done. And then the shirts, I think Joe's still doing them in America. So he's just sent the proof through of that. So we'll have to wait and they'll get sent to
Do you know how much?
CK.
Do you know how much they're going to be, man?
Oh, I haven't even worked that out. The last lot we got, we ended up running the 3 and then we just gave them all away.
I know.
So
That's the problem, man. You can't keep giving them away, brother. You need to, get some money towards the
No,
program.
it's good for the sport, man. That's the main
it
thing.
is.
Kids like that sort of stuff, so it's good to give it away.
Look, absolutely, man. But look, at the end of the day, as I said to you on the phone, man, we want to try and grow the radial scene as much as possible. Get as many sponsors on board for some of these front runners, man, and help you guys compete over there for the big dollar money and big exposure for people, right? So if we can assist in doing that at all, and if there's any sponsors that come on board that we need to be giving shout outs to and promoting, man, we're happy to do that. Victor and I know what it's all about, brother. If you're going to push, you're going to break shit, man. I don't care what anyone says. So at the end of the day, we're here to support everyone, man. Again, congratulations. Firstly on the 3, I'm sure everyone was over the moon when you got there, and you were there as Mr. 3 Seconds, and Donald Long was obviously very happy, man. But again, thanks for representing Australia in such a fantastic manner that you did, and probably one of the most competitive classes in the world.
Yeah, I'm pretty rapt at how it all ended up. Actually, like we were pretty fast considering, so we didn't have Kevin there to help us once he went into surgery, so we sort of just had to wing it, and we done pretty well. Like, it was good. It was good.
No, you did amazing, and Donald obviously very emotional. Having all the Aussies there and actually competing and representing in a race for him was a dream come true. We had always said that it was going to happen, and we'll help get people over there. And man, people are just putting their money where their mouth is, and they're racing. So, mate, all props off to you and what you've achieved. And for us, man, every day we'll be promoting this breast cancer awareness auction that we're going to be doing. And thank you very much for donating the major prize there of that photograph, which will go to someone, and we'll raise as much money as we can do between all of us.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. Good work.
All right, man, and tell Claire that the Real Housewives of Radial Races episode 1 will be happening in Georgia with all the wives, mate.
She's actually holding the phone, so.
Claire, there's going to be an interview with all the wives, mate, because there are some wives, mate, that are probably shaking their head on what's about to happen in the States, and some wives that are praying to God that their husbands don't do what your husband's doing. But you'll set the record straight, I'm sure, for some of those women that are wavering. All right. Nod the phone if you heard me. All right. No, that's all good. Claire and Jarrod, thank you so much, man. Congratulations, and thank you so much for donating towards such an amazing cause as breast cancer, and again, very close to our hearts, man. So, and we just got another $100 from Jetflow Plumbing. Going to put in $100 towards the auction, man. So I think we're at 600
on board, and we'll share it around. And
absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Did you want to say anything?
No, just well done again, mate. And we'll put that post on straight after this afternoon, just for that breast awareness. Breast cancer, and good seeing you, sir.
Thank you, the Jarrod Wood.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Claire, as well.
Thanks for your time, mate.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye, boys. Bye.
There you go, mate.
The Jarrod Wood, man.
The Jarrod Wood.
The Jarrod Wood. I know he's a larrikin, and guys, normally we're on the beers late at night and having a bit more of a laugh, but a bit of a serious show. This one, obviously, we're going over what's happening in the radial world, but to bring a thud back to everyone's world. Jenny's just gone through breast cancer, man. Vic's wife. They've just lived it for the last year, and Jarrod Wood. Year and a half, man. He's gone through it. I don't think many people.
You don't want it for anybody, and unfortunately, it's not too uncommon these days. So.
And you don't really talk about it, man.
Well, what are you going to say, mate? You got to try and get on with things, but in the background, you got a lot of commitments, and your family comes first.
And that's your wife, and your family comes first, man. You know what I mean. 100%. So Jarrod and Claire, we want to really thank you for donating that as the prize, and we're going to try and generate as much money as we can, man. So we're on to the next guest, I believe.
Wagstaff, so, or is it Mr. Hopf?
Well, I'll just see if Wade's on, man. I've texted it. Yes, he is. Mr. Wagstaff, he's been patiently waiting. Sorry, man. This has been a huge show, guys. This is unbelievable. Craig Lewis, another $100. Mate, this is going to go crazy.
That's it.
So we might have to have 50 spots because it's not going to be enough ticket. Mr.
Yeah.
Wagstaff,
Give him a salute. Yes, sir.
G'day, boys.
boom.
What are you doing, mate? Hope you're not driving there.
No, pulled up.
Oh, I thought you were in the left. Oh, yeah.
Mate,
Yeah.
he's doing a Donald Long. He's in a nice office.
The air conditioning's on, eh? Smooth.
Brother, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Mate.
That was a. You're right.
Oh man, I was just going to say, from you running the 4RO here in Australia, and then I'm sure you wanted to smash it here in Australia, but you committed. You said you were going to fly the car, get the car over there. Sorry, it was touch and go there, but man, it would have been hard to see everyone coming for that record in Australia, and knowing that you had the capability to do that, but to run your first 3-second pass, my friend, on the track that's the holy grail track in the world for radial racing, and do it with your friends and family at Donald Long's race. Mate, tell us how that felt and what it felt like to be the first Australian ever to compete in radial versus the world, along with Jet Martin was there, but I think you had a lap first, man. Tell us how that felt.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome just towing around for the first time to radial versus the world, and then lining up beside the best in the world.
Oh man,
yeah. On the way over there, I thought, what it's going to be like just to line up against the best, and then to finally do it in the first pass, in the first 3-second pass. So, no, it was awesome. And the track is just absolutely killer. The heat of the day, we'll go, 104, 102 in the heat of the day. Yeah, it was unreal.
So what was the feeling? Obviously, you had some logistic issues. You didn't even know if the car was going to be...
Can you just let everybody know that didn't know what was really going on?
People didn't know, so let them know what
actually happened maybe
happening there.
Prior.
So the car was meant to get there mid-August, and then we were going to fly over the end of August, put everything together, put the engine in, set it all up and go test, and then come home for a month, go back over. And then when we heard that the container wasn't going to leave for a week later, and then, it was just a big disaster. And then we flew over there. The car was still stuck in customs. We were just twiddling our thumbs for a week. Finally, on Wednesday night, we got the car in our hands. And then Thursday, Friday, we put the car together, put the engine in, the new shocks, converter, set the engine forward a bit, changed so much stuff. And then Saturday, we went to Darlington testing. Changed it to a 3-speed, and first pass just absolutely blew the tyres off. So reversed back, put it in second gear. Launched, got about 10 feet out, blew them off. So then we went back around and just made a massive change. Took a heap of power out. Took that much out that I wouldn't even think the car would run. And it went 429, and then we came back, put a bit more power in it, went 419, came back, put a bit more in it, went 409. By that time, it was midnight, and we packed it up, and we got back to the shop at, I think, 4 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Shit.
Had some sleep, and then, left on Monday to go to Valdosta to No Mercy.
So a bit of a thrash, obviously, to get the car performing, but again, Aussie grit, Aussie spirit, man. Just you guys got it done. I saw those passes that you did in Darlington, man. That thing was straight as an arrow. I think on that 4.0 pass, man, you were rocking. And I said to Vic that night, I go, brother, he's going threes, mate. This car's going to be on the rails, man. So we were pretty stoked. Tell us a bit about the car, man. SCF's been involved with the car, or what's the story there?
Yeah, so Burns sent the car up on big tyre.
Yeah.
And then I basically rang him up and said, since I'm not allowed a door slammer, I've got a set of radials sitting here. I'm going to put them on. And his words were, you're an absolute idiot. and I said, well, what am I going to do? I've got to do something. Someone's got to be the first to put some on a Pro Mod Australia.
Yeah.
And he said, righto, we'll put the 4-link here and put this there. And we did it. And I think our first pass of the Kenda was 4:30. And then by the next day, we went 4:1. We were stoked that it even would work.
Oh man, no doubt. I mean, Craig's built a lot of cars, man, and I think he's involved with the Jet Martin car and yours. And mate, radial versus the world quality, and you put a set of radials on that thing, and as you just saw now, what a decent track can do, and how different the track is there with their prep that they do versus here. I think Tyler probably brings it as close as possible to what the US will be. Man, tell us what it was. You rolled into SGMP now with an SCF Australian-built car, or Australian-prepared car anyway, and you've rolled in, you've done all your setups. What was the atmosphere like? You would have seen all the trucks already there.
What were you thinking?
What were you thinking, man? What was going through Wade's head at the time, man? Like, what's the feeling as you know that you're about to unload this car and go through the staging lanes in Valdosta with the world's best? Yeah, exactly.
I think testing and qualifying I was pretty relaxed and excited more so, but then as soon as I knew that round one was coming up, I was that nervous it wasn't funny.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, testing and qualifying was just awesome. Just the atmosphere and yeah, knowing that get to race there with the best in the world. I think overall we qualified 13th out of 35 cars in Radial Versal World. So yeah, we're definitely stoked, and yeah, wasn't for the people around us, so we wouldn't even made it there.
Well, and so are there any specific sponsors you want to call out as well that have?
Noonan, Renee and Jamie Noonan at Noonan Race Engineering, they've just helped out that much. It's not funny, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even made it.
Yeah, right.
They took us there in their transporter. The car's living there. They've helped out everything. And yeah, obviously Craig Burns for helping me on every single combo in the car. We're at 10.5, big tyre, radial. He's always told me what to do, and it's always worked. Luke Marsden, he's always been there to help me with the tune and whatnot. And then obviously my family and crew, and yeah, if it wasn't for everyone, none of this would have happened. So very thankful.
And I asked for a reason, Wade, because I saw, man, you had your crew there. The Noonan deal as well. That's and we saw exactly what the Noonan's capable of, obviously in Kyle's car, man. So we knew there was definitely going to be the right artillery that you were taking to the race. I can't tell you how excited I was, man, when I saw you line up against Mark Mickey in that first qualifying. Brother, I just knew there was going to be something special, and he spun, and you really got it down Broadway. What was that feeling like going against the best of the best? That was it. That was your Top Gun moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the meet, that run. I think we went in 95 and he went in 85, but we treated him and got the win, even though it was in qualifying. But
absolutely.
No, it was just awesome. Absolutely awesome to run him.
And so the car obviously was getting quicker and quicker. Where do you believe the car's playing at now? I saw the car accelerating faster and faster. So the car's 80s car, and I believe you'll get into the 70s with the sort of car that it is, man. So what's the thought of the team, and what's the story for further competition in the US? Is the car staying there? It's coming back. What are your plans, Wade? Having such a successful trip, man, for yourself and the team. Surely there's got to be a lot of motivation to keep the car over there and race for some of the big bucks there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't think there was much point sending the car over there just for one event, so we're definitely going to leave it there and do lights out.
Okay.
I'd like to do Sweet 16, but they're so close together.
Yes.
But there's always a chance. We'll see. After then, I have no idea. No idea.
But you know what? That's the best way, because you've got Tyler Crosnow's race as well. You might have some other invitations to race the car. Some PDRA races like Jet's doing now. The car's world leading, Wade. What you've achieved with Jet Martin and to represent Australia in the biggest class of radials in the world. People do a lot of this, brother. You dipped your hand in your pocket, man, and you did what you had to do, man. So a lot of congratulations out there to you, man. There's a lot of talkers, a lot of bullshit artists, man. People that watch the live feed and they think they're professors on radial, man. You got there, and you and your family,
you did it, mate. You
did
got
it,
there,
man.
you did it.
Yeah.
Awesome, mate. Amazing stuff.
Absolutely, man. So, so yeah, good to hear that you're going to be racing over there, man. And let us know any upgrades to come, or what's your premonition on the car and its performance?
We've only got a D rotor on there at the moment. I still think there's a fair bit left in there, maybe low 80s, possibly a high 70.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think we did 5 laps at No Mercy, so definitely with some more laps,
Yeah.
get the 60 foot down and obviously bring the timing in a lot quicker. And each pass we would just bring it in quicker and quicker, and it just loved it.
Just
Yeah, go for it.
No, I was just recapping. What was the fastest ET60 and speed there?
We went 1020 and then 262 and 390 with a 2 at 193. That was our best one, and that was in
my opinion. I think with the right power management and the right amount of data, I mean, you only had 5 laps on a radial track, and that was probably the hardest radial track, man. You're going to see the difference at lights out and the way that the cars accelerate and make the air is totally different, man. So at the end of the day, brother, you know, what you guys have achieved so far is amazing, but I believe the car's going 70s, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah, I'd love to see it go into the 70s, but yeah, we're just taking each pass as it comes and
Absolutely.
add a little bit of power each pass and see where we end up. But 70s is definitely the goal. It might take a C rotor to do it, but yeah, I guess to be up there with the best in the world, you've got to step up and be willing to throw at what it takes.
Absolutely, man. And when in doubt, go more. That's what they always say. So that's what you guys are doing, man. Wait, is there any merchandise that you're bringing on board, man, that we can get people to start helping out and purchasing some merchandise for, you know, I would say one of the fastest, one of the leading cars in the radial versus world, man. I mean, honestly, you were there competing. You were in the rounds. I mean, what more is there?
You put the big dog on the trailer.
Yeah, I did get a few shirts sent to the track over there, and I bought a fair few home. So this is the front there. It's a bit hard to see.
Very good. Yeah, we can see that. That's pretty cool.
I don't know if you can see that. That's the
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool,
Who
man.
did those for you?
So I've got this one here now. If you boys want to pick someone on, obviously I can't see who's on the chat, but if you boys want to pick someone and I'll give it away and I'll send it to them.
Well,
Any size I've got.
Wade, can you do, if you can do something for us, Wade, rather than give it away like that, if you can sign it for us, and and we've got a bit of a fundraiser that we're doing for breast cancer, and maybe we'll give that as a prize for one of the people that don't win the Jarrod Wood poster, man. We'll give a signed T-shirt from you if that's all right.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds good.
Absolutely, man. We'll try and waste some money for breast cancer, and mate, the shirts look amazing. How much are those shirts anyway? Are they for sale, or are you going to have enough for sale or anything like that?
Yeah, I've got a fair few here, so I think 25 each.
Cool. Yeah, and they just message you with a size, put some money in your PayPal, and away we go.
Yep, perfect.
Mate, that's what it sounds good like. Sorry.
Just quickly, who did those shirts for you? Was it Salvado Design?
Classic Graphics.
Classic Graphics. Okay.
Are they here or in the States?
Half.
Oh, okay.
Half.
Cool.
Well, I left half at Noonan's and half I brought home with me. So yeah, I can send some back over here if I run out.
Yeah.
Or I've got the artwork, so I can get some all made up.
What was it? Graphics.
Classic Graphics. Yeah.
Classic Graphics. They're based over here in Australia or over there?
No, they're based over there.
Oh, okay.
In the States.
Awesome stuff, man. So what's the story? Lights out. When do you leave again?
Oh, I got home 5 a.m. this morning, so I haven't even planned the next trip yet.
He's back 5. He's back working. These guys are crazy, man.
Back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, no, crazy stuff.
I thought he was in a left-hand drive car from me, though.
Oh, I thought he was in LA living the rockstar life, man.
No.
He's got the Holden badge. Yeah, buddy. Nah, man. So look, we're going to be over there as well, supporting you guys, man, as much as possible. And Wade, again, thanks for joining us, man. First time on the feed, but we'd love to have you on as many times as you can, because you've done what most people talk about and talk about and dream about, and you've done it, man. So again, thanks for joining us on G275. And sorry, Vic, what was that?
No, thank you.
No, well done to you and all your crew and everybody involved, mate. You're out there, and we're behind all the Aussies over there.
Absolutely, man. I'm very proud of you as an Australian, man. Well done, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for all the support. And if it wasn't for you and everyone else, well, none of this would have been possible or even worth it. So yeah, can't wait for lights out and just to be there with all the Aussies again. That was the main highlight, I think. Just having so many Aussies there, and yeah, everyone being so proud, and it was awesome.
Absolutely, man. So lots of Australian flags flying, and I'm sure lights out in Sweet 16, there's going to be plenty more flying. So again, man, thank you again, and congratulations from everyone in the radial world in Australia, man. I'm sure we wish you congratulations, and personally thank you for the sacrifices, commitment you made to get the car over there. That was pretty huge.
No, thank you.
No
Inspiring
worries.
stuff, mate.
Thanks, man.
Take care, mate.
Thank you. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, well, there you have it, mate.
Well,
Wade Wagstaff,
there you
went over,
guys
had
got
a
it.
shot.
Wade Wagstaff, man. A
Up
lot of
against the
people,
best.
a lot of people talk shit, right? And
Yeah, look, you know, it's out there.
it's when you put your money down and you commit. Drag racing is about commitment, man. If you think drag racing is about money, then don't race. If you need to justify to your wife or your partner how much money you're spending on race cars, don't race. If you think that you're going to be a millionaire from racing, don't race. You know, I saw an interview from Stevie Fast yesterday. He did a live feed, man.
Yes, he did.
For Stevie Fast, it's not even about winning, man. Oh, it's winning, but the money doesn't motivate him. You know what I mean? It's competing. He wants to compete.
The action is the juice. I always say that, you know.
Now, ladies and gents, Scott Cortina, it says, Vic, give me a call about some products for fundraiser. Scotty Cortina, man, I know we have a laugh about the 4-second thing and the competition between you and Victor, but brother, what you do, the Gazards, and what you do for Lyle over there, I believe it's one of the fastest leaf spring cars in the world. They're running your shocks, and very proud to at least see an Aussie company, Gazard Brothers, on the front, man. So at the end of the day, brother, thank you so much for
thanks for supporting a great cause.
For support on what you do, brother, and you know, supporting the sport. Yeah, we like having a laugh with you, man, and we like how competitive you are, because honestly, man, you're one of the most competitive racers out there, and you know, I think you met Vic, who's just as tenacious as you, man. So
you were chasing.
You were chasing.
You were chasing. You were pushing me, mate.
You fucking push Barrelos, and not many people can do that, man. You know what I mean? Because Barrelos will just sell the house, man. But at the end of the day, brother, thank you for what you've just written there about the fundraisers. So
we'll be in touch after the
Vic will be in touch. He'll give you a touch. And guys, Gazar Brothers, man, you want an Australian shock? They're proven. They're running in the US. They're sponsoring cars everywhere, man.
Great
so
stuff.
probably some of the best stuff out
100%.
there. So again, thanks, Scotty.
I think we've got Kyle Hopf trying to join us feverishly there.
Kyle Hopf's there.
Is he trying to join there? Maybe get him on quickly.
Craig Lewis will donate a t-shirt and hoodie to the fundraiser as well. Right?
Anybody donating anything, please
message us.
PM, Sam.
Yeah, please, man. And we'll write it all today. I'll get the whole thing happening. And by the looks of it, we're going to raise a decent amount of money for breast cancer, man. It's huge. And again, thanks to Jarrod Wood for the major prize donation there and starting it all off, because that was huge. Now, before we get stuck into Kyle and what he's done, I want to reveal, and now that Scotty Cortina's on here, it's probably important as well. But again, Wade Wagstaff, again, thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it, and congratulations on what you've done. I'm going to get to a gentleman named Luke James. Now, guys, if you don't know Luke James, Luke has a page, and it's the Outlaw. So it's a 235 Outlaw
26 8.5
page in Australia, right? So like and follow that. But here's the story. Luke's messaged us, and he said, "Boys, I want to do something." I said, "What do you want to do, Luke?" And he goes, "Listen, man, this 235 thing, and you guys can see how popular 235s are in the States. So Luke is going to do a 235 versus 8.5 event. And we're going to get sponsors, and this thing is going to be badass. So you're going to have the best of the best on 235s. I believe it's in March from what I can see, right? So it's going to be the best of the best, 23rd of March. So if you're not overseas, that's the race you need to be at. And so the rules are going to be on the website and on the Facebook page that Luke's putting together. But 23rd of March, Victor, this is going to be close to your heart. So I'm just going to give everyone a graphical representation for all the people that have huge tyres on their car. No, I'll go get it.
What are you doing?
I'm going to grab it. You got a ruler? Yeah, bring in here. Okay, that's the tyre.
That's a Pro Radial 235 on an old smelly 15
That's
inch.
a Valiant rim.
Steel rim. We run steel rims, man.
So-
I'm stuck in the 70s.
So if your wife's complaining about how much you're spending, just put her on a steel rim so it doesn't look like the rims are expensive. But
You're a weak guy.
I got to say that. That's the width, right? So Tortorello, you can test your new thing that I heard about. Don't worry, I'm throwing you under a bus today. And there's Ivan as well. I'm going to throw him under a bus too. They're all building fucking radial cars. Yeah, that's a 235. It's the size of an iPad.
ET Street,
Okay,
whatever.
So that event's happening.
The rules have been taken from the Duck X235
Yeah, they're very close to
page.
it, actually.
Well, they're virtually identical. You can sift through those. I don't know if you've got anything on there. Maybe we can put a copy of the rules up after the
No, we will, right? So I'll put the rules up.
after the live feed.
But so here's what it's going to be. So it's going to be, where are we at?
Yeah, I pretty much put 235s on anything, mate.
All right, so I'll just go over a few of the things, right? Really important stuff, like simple things, like no wheelie bars. Yeah, I think that's good. Frame chassis, you know, all cars must retain standard location mounting points on front end. Aftermarket bolt-on replacement front K-member frames are allowed. Struts or relocated shocks are permitted. I'm not going to go through all the rules, but back half cars are permitted. No 3/4 or full chassis cars. Hear that? Yeah, cool.
It's all standard.
No 1,000 cube engines, limited at 670 cubic inches.
We do have some sort of weight brakes there.
There are weight brakes, right? So, okay, so
Depending on what combination.
all suspensions up. I'm going to say it again, no wheelie bars. And if you've done shit on wheelie bars, take them off and then do it and then tell me about it. But anyway, electrical, you've got your computers are allowed. Now, maximum of 235 mil or maximum of 26.8.5 non-W slick. Non-W means no cheaters on the slick, right?
No, 26 by 8, that measures 32, you know what I mean?
Jeez. Okay. Oh man, people are dying right now.
Look, we've got to put a link up after the
So
live feed.
I'm just going to show it, right? So there's some of the weights.
Just have a look. Leave it there for a minute.
I mean, surely people could compete at that.
I mean, this is what's coming out of the US. I mean, guys might be saying why they're running slower there. I mean, there's a guy, Justin Krynick, overseas. He's gone 447, 170 on that tyre.
Game over.
447, 170. Now, that was in outlaw trim,
Yeah. So
which, bring anything you want, put the 235.
yeah, absolutely, and run it, right?
Now, on the rule side of things, he has gone as fast as, what did he go? Went 460, consistently 460s, about 161.
Right.
So, you know, guys like Joey Bridge, you know, Michael Arnold, Mr. Cortina, I mean, you know, we guys over here across the Pacific.
Absolutely, man.
And
Absolutely, and to run what's been run on 235s in Australia. And Kenda, Scotty Harker, man, again, mate, props to you. But this class here is just for 235s. So get onto the X235 Outlaw page. I don't know if you can see that. Look up Luke James, man. That's where we're at. 235 radials to the front.
Another radial event there.
Another radial event. So
we're growing slowly.
So hold on, we got Kenda. We got this Outlaw 235.
And
we got no excuses from Paul Gasson Radial
Paul
Life.
Gasson, mate.
Now-
We've got that one there coming up.
So that, and I got some more to say about the Paul
Ballarat.
Gasson at the end, right? But guys, radial racing's growing. You may not like that. You may not want to be part of that. But I'll give it to you this. Tortorello announced that he bought Daniel's old car, which we already knew, Tortorello, but thank you for revealing that to the world because that's one of the fastest radial cars in the country. Small block, and that'll be on 275s.
Correct.
I'll see you in the staging lanes. The next...
I think he's got a serious motor there.
Yeah, no, he's got it. He's
got a serious motor. He's going to be swinging for the hills in that thing.
Absolutely, he's going to be swinging for the hills. And then you've got Ivan Tessick, Mr. Man.
What's he doing?
He's got a radial car.
Has he?
Absolutely.
What radial car?
Oh, I can't tell you too much. That guy there, he'll smash the fuck out of me. But that guy there has got a radial car coming. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh man.
Okay, that's it. He showed me.
Man,
He showed me the pictures.
Well, maybe we need to maybe we need to get him in here. I mean, he might be coming past today, but maybe we need to get him in here on one of the live feeds or something.
He's coming past.
I don't know. Who knows?
All right. So
Who knows?
So yes, that's right, guys. Tortorello has got a radial car. Ivan, Mr. Mad, he's just going to put radials on.
I think it's a VL.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it an Aussie Ferrari?
It's an Aussie Ferrari
Someone's
V8.
made a comment there about the nice Capri there in the background. Who's that?
Ali Seed.
Ali, mate. How are you, mate? Yeah, that's Ali's old car. Went to Chris Christo, and from there we obtained it. And Chris at Muscle Cars there's doing some
sponsorship work.
Some sponsorship work there, and
Muscle cars.
it's only got a little smelly old small block, not as fast as the old big block days. But hey, what do you do, mate? You know, you run as fast as you can. But yeah, Ali certainly was running very, very fast with that naturally aspirated big block, man. And we're big fans of the naturally aspirated stuff here.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. And Ali, what a killer car, but Barrelos he's got it at the next level now. But baby 235 is going on that thing now. So. Anyway,
VJ Tortorello saying something there.
Can't wait,
boys. Oh, jeez.
There'll be money on it.
I bet you he's sitting. I know Paulie right now. He's sitting down. He's eating something. And he's just smiling, thinking about that Tirana.
He's smiling.
Tirana, that bloody Cortina.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's coming, eh?
Oh, mate. He's going to be swinging for the hills.
Now, so we know of some other radial cars that are in the build as well. We know some people that are buying cars from the US, and deals are trying to be done, and we've heard all about it. I've had some US people reach out to me and say, what do you think of this guy? He's trying to buy the car. And look, guys, that's the way to do it, man. If you want to be a leader off the bat and you want to buy a car, go for it. But I think Kyle Hopf has proven that world-class, world-leading cars can be built here. And also Craig Burns has proven it with Jet Martin's car and Wade Wagstaff's car that, mate, we can build cars and race against the Bickles and the RJ race cars and all that sort of thing around the world. But mate, the Aussies they got the horsepower as well, man. At the end of the day, so again, if you have the balls to put 235s on a car, there is a 235 only event. I will show it one more time, and then you guys can jump onto the page there. But Barrelos, you were Mr. 235 at one point as well, man.
Mate, better to be a has-been than a never-been, mate. I'll tell you that, mate. That came from Richie Zool, mate. If anyone knows who Richie Zool is, mate,
look him up if you don't know.
Look him up, Richie Zool, mate. Look him up, mate.
All right, so everyone check that out. That's the event, 235 event. Luke, man, start answering questions. And at the end of the day, we need some prize money. Get out there and put 235s on your car.
Any builds? Anything come through this week, Sam?
There are a couple of photos that have sort of come through.
I had a guy contact me. I think it's George Lazos. He's out of South Australia, so he must be a Mopar head or something.
There's a Mopar guy out there.
One of my fellow Moparians.
All of you Mopar guys are the same.
Well, I don't know. Buy valiant meet a dickhead, they say. But anyway, yeah. No, look, all jokes aside.
Let me find it.
I don't know how I got into a bloody turbo VL from a Valiant, but anyway, it wasn't a bad choice, I can tell you that much.
You love it.
Well, anyway, we'll be coming out soon, hopefully. Well, soon, what does that mean? But no, we'll be out soon. Maybe a little bit of JW power on board.
JW, where is that guy? Is he back from the US?
Mate, I think somebody was watching us from the live feed in the toilet, they said. Hey, that's awesome, mate. Like, that's dedication.
Is that what he said to
That's
you?
soldier, mate. Dedication.
All right, so here we go. This is George Lazos. He's got a Mopar. There's the engine there. I don't know.
It's a VE.
Are we allowed to show this shit or what? Okay.
Yep, run through the photos. VE. He's running a 255 radial. I dare say he'll be making a switch down to 235s. Naturally aspirated VE. Regal there.
There it is.
Can you send any information
He's
about
running Caltrex.
Yeah, it looked like Caltrex. Jeez, why didn't he ring the Gazza brothers?
Well, that's what we'll tell him. Ring
Anyway.
the guys. I won't show the suspension. That's him.
No, that's all right. You can show the photos.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It's him.
What's he written about the write-up down the motor?
I'll show him. But there it is there, man. That's a beautiful Valiant, but it's going to have a big-ass engine in it. So I'll just read what he's written here.
Full motor.
All right, here we go. It's a 432 small block Mopar consisting of, I won't say that, Dominator Indy manifold. Transmission is a full manualised 727 with a cone 8-inch converter.
Got some nice stuff.
Tied together is CDS Engineering chassis connectors. Rear end consists of CDS Engineering 9-inch with 35 billet spline Moser axles. And it'll be running a 255 60/15 Vic.
Yeah. Look, I think it'll start on there and then you'll go down to 235s. I mean, you've got to start somewhere. But no, either way, George doing something there and flying the flag for the Mopar guys, and look forward to seeing how that goes.
Absolutely.
Speaking of radial guys, just on the VL scene,
what's going on?
how about Ben Temper? Everybody know Ben Temper?
Yeah, Temper.
Mate,
he's got the Temper VL.
He's got the Temper VL, mate. He's always had a nice paint job. I think he's on his 6th paint job here. I mean, it's killer candy.
Yeah.
He's just put, what's he got there? A twin cam coming out of Matuke's Racing. He's got a manual behind it? Or no, he's got I can't tell. Can anyone tell me he's got a manual behind that thing? Or he's got an automatic? He's probably got an auto. Twin cam RB. Yeah, I think they just put a bit of a bass tune in it the other day. And he might be just cruising that around, running it in. And I'm sure we'll see him come out. So interesting to see where that's going to run, you know.
So that made some power? What it made?
Made some power there. I think just on 30 pounds, someone's just sent me some information there. Probably about 900 horsepower, which is
900
a bunch of
horsepower.
steam.
Very good.
The old Matuke's up
So
there.
Ben, well done. Matuke's well done.
Ben, mate, nice guy in the sport, mate.
He's very good.
Really very persistent. And
Very
just show that up there if anyone hasn't seen it. I'm sure they probably have, but another veal coming out there with the twin cam this time.
There you go, man.
You
Can
know,
you see all of that? What's going on
It
there?
looks pretty full on in the engine bay. I'm getting confused with the two cams and buckets and all that jazz.
pretty
but
crazy. So
I'll
that's
stick with a single cam for myself.
That's pretty good. George, well done on the build, man. No, send them through. And guys, I just saw this as well. So again, we have already given him congratulations, but there it is, man. Jet Martin, 384, 198. Go the Aussies to the front. Now, so you got the 235 event.
You got the 235.
You got the King of the Hill events, which is Kenda.
Kenda.
Right? So we're huge and
We'll be having a schedule probably by the end of the year for that.
absolutely. We're waiting for that.
And
then
before the end of the year, we've got the
Ballarat in No Excuses for Radio Life, right?
That's it, and that's for Paul Gas Sarah.
Paul Gassera, right? Okay, so with no further ado, I'm going to try and bring him on. I always seem to run into these. Okay, here we go. Mr. Six Boost. I'm going to ask him, where's my car?
I heard it's very close.
It's nowhere near
He's
close.
going to tell you right
It's
now.
nowhere
I
near.
don't bullshit you, mate.
There's nowhere
I
near
tell
it.
it how it is, mate. We're not here for stories, man.
It's adding. It's got to go all the way to Toowoomba, so hopefully he'll jump on.
The little mouse is turning the wheel somewhere, and the electricity's going up the pole.
The cogs are moving, man. The excuses have stopped. So while we're waiting for Kyle to join, guys, by the end of today, we'll have the auction for breast cancer fundraiser that we're going to do. And again, thanks to Jarrod Wood. Thanks to everyone that's donating. Speedy Diffs again, man, dipping his hand in his pocket, brother. Jet Flow Plumbing, Craig Lewis, Wagstaff,
Sammy Tompkins.
Sammy
I'm sure we've
Tompkins,
missed a couple
me
of
and
guys.
Vic. Man, thanks for putting money in as well, because this is huge. And guys, it's probably been a huge episode. There's like 2.5 hours we're into it so far.
Just quickly, is Nick Zaraka's come on there?
Nah, Zaraki's offline, man.
Yeah, well, that only means one thing. The
What?
paint is coming.
Oh, that means your engine's getting done.
My engine? No.
His engine.
Well, he was tickling the cylinder heads there or something there. He was nearly done with the head, so I could just throw him back on. But
Right.
I think something serious is coming out of that dyno room.
Oh, he must be on the dyno now.
I don't know.
Oh, shit.
If he's not on, just
Oh, we showed you guys what he was doing anyway.
The
Anyway,
paint is coming there.
I'll try again with
I
Kyle.
don't want to keep hampering.
Boys,
Let's get Kyle on here,
I'm
mate.
trying, man.
The guy's
Fucking-
only been watching here for 3 hours, but
He's probably
Kyle Hopf,
he's
try
probably
again.
gone to the bathroom.
no, he should try again.
Oh, there he. Hey, Six Boost.
Hey boys,
Salute the guy.
how you
mate.
No,
going?
you can't salute.
Salute, brother.
You got to do that.
Six.
Boost. That's it. 6. How are you, man?
Good, and you?
Yeah, good, man.
Can you hear me?
Sorry to interrupt. You know what's coming to my mind? That 200 mile an hour prize money up for the grabs. 200 mile. What are we going to do about it? We've got to do something. What are we
So I
gonna
guess
do?
it'll depend on because the car's going to America. It'll depend on whether or not anyone chips that off before we get back for Radial Riot next year. Keep in mind that Riot's not the only meeting of the year, so
Yes.
Yeah.
I reckon
But
we'll
it's
have
got to
a
be
few
done.
boys. We'll have
Kenda's only doing
Yeah,
that.
Kenda's. It's got to be done at Kenda.
So I think we're safe for a little bit here.
Yeah. But he's still going to smash it out of the park. Anyway.
Well,
You know what I mean? It's got to be done. Hey, Six Boost, I like that jumper, man.
Thanks, boys.
That
Limited edition green.
limited edition green, $44.95.
is it?
How much are they, man? I don't even know how much they are. They $60 or something.
So the green ones weren't for sale. We just had them made up for the guys that helped on the crew for Radial Riot this
Oh,
year.
right. Yeah, cool.
Um,
The black ones,
but yeah, the black ones are $40. So.
$40. $40. Now, Mr. Six Boost, thank you for watching for the last 7.5 hours.
No worries.
It's been a killer episode, man. But we had Shane T on. Now, a lot of people who didn't know Shane T have obviously learned who Shane T is when the
the green 6-boost Camaro was revealed to the world. But I asked him a question, and I don't know if you managed to see that in between welding the 7,000 manifolds you have to weld a day. But the question was, when he first arrived, you saw his response when he actually saw the car and the level that it was at. Firstly, congratulations to you, man. And I know we're like family,
Thanks.
but to you and your team, because no sleep, no rest for the wicked. JW's shop was taken over. Emotions were high. The stress levels were even higher. There wasn't enough lamb in the diet. We fixed a few of those things. But, mate, congratulations for what you and your team achieved. And Peter, your partner as well, all the support that she gives you always, I'm sure is important. And I'm raising the partner thing a lot. I had a conversation with a couple of wives, and I don't think people realise how important a supportive partner is to the race program. And as I said before,
Yeah, 100%.
Kyle, you built a Radial versus the World car, which if you need to ask the question how much that is, then you should never be building it. And then the next answer was that you had the full support of your partner in doing that, right? And you know, racing's not for everyone, and drag racing is not a cheap sport. But it's an addictive habit that I'm happy to have.
It's for people that love work and hate money.
Yeah, we always say that.
Absolutely, man. So tell us, you know, getting Shane T, JW, and the team together, what was it like for you to finally see that car rolling into the Tremaniac trailer, man? And again, thank you to the Tremaines for everything they did to help get your car there and the support they provided the program. You've always helped them as well with their pro stock. They're 6 or 7 time champion now, pro stock team. I don't even know. It's probably 10, whatever it is. But
7.
But at the end of the day, mate, seeing them roll up, and I remember because Aaron was there and the day before, and he goes, yeah, you know, we'll be here at 5 a.m. And 5 a.m. he rolled in, and I was trying to get my 1 hour sleep in between, and
the converter, the boxes were getting changed.
And anyway,
that's stressful.
What did it feel? But the car rolled out of JW Automotive. Shane T was getting 45-minute beauty sleep with Daniel Pharris, and you saw that thing about to roll into the trailer. What went through your head? Because you've built a number of cars, all world class. You built your own car with your team. What was the emotion?
To be perfectly honest, I've probably been asked a few times, and it was such a blur and such a push to get it done and get it there that you never actually stopped to appreciate what you'd have achieved. So even rolling the car in the trailer. So, I mean, I think on race day I'd had 7 hours sleep in 4 days in total, and no sleep the night before, like that night Friday rolled through Saturday. And you're so delirious and so focused on what you still got to set out to achieve. Like, we had a whole race day ahead of us. We had a car to get to the track. We had drivers and tuners that have had maybe 1 to 2 hours of sleep. You know, we rolled it off the dyno knowing that the converter was, the stator in the converter was too loose, and there's no way we were running anywhere near where we wanted to be with that in the car. So, you know, I had some great help from you know, Vic and Josh and a lot of guys that, you know, really owe me nothing to stay back and basically get no sleep to get the converter out of the car. I think Justin had about 20 minutes sleep while we literally got the transmission out of the car in about half an hour. Yep. And got the converter changed, and it just really never stopped. And then, you know, not getting that time card in the final, like in our last pass, was obviously
pretty hard.
A bit of a letdown. But I mean, it almost makes me teary thinking about it that Pete turned around and looked at me, and after the shock of the fact that the timers didn't work because everyone watching could see what had just happened.
Yeah,
twice.
The emotion of everything that we went through to get there to that point sort of came through, and we had a hug, and you know, you move on to the next goal, which was
a good moment.
4 days.
I'm just going to show everyone
4 days to get
that was you towing out for the very first time, brother. So
that there was a very surreal moment.
Absolutely, man. Like you're watching your own car getting towed out, which, as Shane T said, mate, his exact words were "fuck me" when he saw that car. There was no, he didn't think that was going to happen, man. And that was on the Tuesday, and then everyone just was relentless. And it's good that you talk about the emotion. You and Peter, obviously, we're on this journey together, and mate, huge amounts of investment have to go in time, money, sacrifice, everything. And to see what it ran on the last pass, and I've alluded to it in a previous feed. The data showed what the data showed, and yes, it would have showed a 200 plus mile an hour pass, and definitely in the 390s. But it didn't bring the ticket, and we always say if there's no ticket, it didn't happen. So we'll go there, we'll do it, right? But
you know, like taking away whether it ran a 390 or a 40 or a 195 or a 205 or whatever it run, just for us as a team, like forgetting whether anyone else cares whether it did that or whether anyone else thinks that the car was fast. I didn't build the car for anyone else. I built it for myself, and to push my envelope of, you know, I've obviously played with a lot of radial cars and pushed a lot of stuff. Basically, we wanted to take it to the limit and put ourselves amongst the guys that can run 360s and 370s, not to show that we can do it better than them, but I want to know what they know. I want to do what they do, and you know, I can't walk into someone else's camp with a 360 car and say, hang on, just move aside and let me play with your car so I can learn. So the only way I was going to get that opportunity was to do it for myself and be the chief of my own team and basically get to make those decisions. So that was the entire reason for pushing forward. So
and you did it, man. You did it, and you should be very proud of what you've achieved, as well as trying to keep your business afloat at the same time, man. It's a juggling act.
Not easy.
It's not easy, man.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah, go on.
You know, obviously, we couldn't have done it without the help of a lot of good people. So, I mean, obviously, with every race car and every team, there's a lot of people that make sacrifices to make that happen, and mine was certainly no different. The effort that Justin and Michael put in to make sure that the car was done, I can partially blame Justin that we ended up going to that event because, you know, I had the crazy thought in my head and put it to him and said that there was no way I was doing it without him. And he said, well, if we're going to do it, the only way I'm doing it with you is if it's got Motec on the car. And, you know, it all really made sense in the end because, you know, you talk about, you know, this massive financial investment to get a car of that level to a racetrack, but you know, a car is a sum of parts, and above those parts is the sum of knowledge that makes those parts run. And if you're going to invest that sort of money in a car, in any car, you've got to have the best team around you and the most amount of experience. And there's very few people on this planet that have more experience with a 500 plus cubic inch twin turbo engine with, you know, the type of job that we needed to achieve, and that's Shane T. So, you know, if you know you got a very narrow time frame to get a car from starting to running down a racetrack, and you want to achieve a very specific goal, then basically surround you with the best people that you can find, and hopefully that'll come together in the shortest period possible. You know, if we had 6 months, then 6 months of getting the car together and testing and whatever else, then things might have taken a different path, or potentially could take a different path. But you know, you either want to achieve the goal that you set out and you had to achieve, or you know, you just want to lope along and get there when you get there. And I'm a pretty impatient kind of guy, so.
And there's not like this guy with his car. No, a bit like this guy with his car and the other bloke up there.
No,
This guy throwing everyone under the bus.
there's certainly a lot of people that made sacrifices. Like obviously, in that time period when things progressed, you know, we had to pull a bit of focus away from some of the customers' cars, and Sam is one of those guys, and he was very gracious in being understanding that, you know, we took a bit of time away from working on his car to get it done to make ours happen. And I mean, obviously, coming from Sam, he said, you know, no question, do what you got to do, 100% support. Not just because he didn't want to say, no, sorry, but I need my car done. But just because that's the type of fantastic person he is, he wanted to see it run just about as much as I did, I think.
100%, brother.
there's-
We're gonna fuck them up. Don't worry, in the States, brother. You're gonna be taking $100,000 off those motherfuckers. I'm telling you now. There's no, brother. The plans that we have for Six Boost, no one understands what's about to come. The pain is coming. Now, I want to know the decision to go with the Noonan block. I've never seen anything like that in my life, and I've seen, I would say, nearly every single Radial vs World car I've actually personally seen and seen the engine, and we've spoken to the owners. When I first saw the Noonan in your car, I actually rang Vic because I was in Brisbane for some meetings, and I went past Justin's to say hi, and I rang Vic and I said, I think Kyle's lost the plot, man. And he's like, what do you mean? I go, man, I've never seen anything as amazing as this thing, right? And tell us about the decision to move down. I'm seeing Noonan now is really, and Noonan's always been a very synonymous brand in the US with, especially their door slammer and their Pro Mod style of engine. But seeing that moving into the Radial vs World and Ruben T. So Ruben Tedesfil, who's a Russian guy over there, runs Pro Mod, ran Radial. He actually had Noonan heads on a block that he had there as well back in the day. But to see you go Noonan, what was the precipice for that? What made you go that stuff?
So I'm not I'm the type of guy that I only want to do things once, and when you put that amount of work into a vehicle, you don't want to be refabricating pipe work, you don't want to be refabricating manifolds. You basically want to do the job once. And obviously Mark Mickey's running at the front with a big block Chev, but and there's a few guys doing it with Hemis, 481Xs. So we had two factors on our mind. We basically had a time limit because we only made the decision to even build the car 16 weeks before the event. But we also then had to obviously get someone to supply an engine to have in the car and have it done in a timely enough fashion. But then we also didn't want to be redoing things. So, I could have found a second-hand Hemi from a top alcohol car or a door slammer or something like that and put that in the car. But if you're going to try and make 4,500, 5,000 horsepower with an engine, you don't want someone's second-hand problems. So, your first thought is to then switch straight to finding a brand new motor that's capable of the job. So you've either got basically something like a Proline 481X or a Proline Hemi or a BAE Hemi, and Noonan was local to us. Obviously, I think they've closed down their shop at the coast now, but I could drive down, meet them in person, see the components firsthand, put it to them and said, this is the timeline that I need the engine delivered by, which I think was, from memory, the 4th of June. To give you an idea of how tight things were, I think we got the engine 4 days late. So, we're talking mid-June to having it on a racetrack on the 1st of September. And, going past that, Noonan basically took a Hemi, redesigned every inadequacy and saw point and fault with that motor and did what they had to do to make it the most reliable engine at that level on the planet. So, where do you go? They've obviously got the experience. They've got plenty of top alcohol and door slammer guys running their blocks and heads. So, their business is proven. The engine itself is a redesign with massive improvements over that, and the rest is history, So, to give people an idea, I know what sort of boost level people are running to run high threes at 200, and I know that we're 10 to 15 psi under that to make the same sort of power. So it's obviously a very, very capable unit. We're just got to start winding it up and prove its reliability and its power at the top. So
absolutely, and you bought in one of the most qualified radial racers in the world. Daniel's, from flying cars to fastest passes, he's done it all. Having him and seeing him so calm and confident in everything that was being done, even though he could see the car was being built brand new. Now, as a racer, I know that you sort of want every bolt and nut to be double checked and triple checked, especially when you're going down the pass.
and especially, getting in a car like that, Pharris would have had to been a little bit nervous. It was a brand new car, and he was just a calm, cool, collected. I ended up nicknaming Cole Trickle, just arriving, jumping in a car and racing, right? But, Cole Trickle Pharris was on point from even just the burnout procedure was perfect. First launch was perfect. You guys did what you had to do there and get the car down. But just for him to be that confident must have given you confidence that you were going to achieve something.
Daniel, for me, I mean, Shane and Daniel were probably the highlights, obviously, of that week. For me, the experience, it's not something you could ever explain to people, in words, or the type of relationship that you build with people in such a high stress environment to get a job done. Daniel personally, to me, was probably one of the highlights, and it was probably more of a surprise because we hadn't even thought towards the driver of the car at the time. And the Kenda guys, Scott and Justin, were very gracious in asking me whether or not I would let someone drive the car, and Tyler had put forth Daniel's name, and a few things got thrown around, and he couldn't come because of work. And I sent him a PM. I don't know if it was a turning point, but I sent him a private message sort of separate to our conversation with Justin and Scott when he said he couldn't come. And I said, look, we want to try and knock off this 3-second 200-mile-an-hour pass, and I'd really like you to be in the car. And he moved things around and thankfully made it. And to give you an idea of how good a guy he is, he didn't come out for me to drive the car. He came out for the Kenda guys to drive the car. And it wouldn't have been rude of him to go to the racetrack and watch the racing for the testing for Thursday and Friday, and then expect to show up with his helmet on race day. He really owed me nothing at all. But he was at the shop for 12, 16, 20 hours a day for the 2 days before. He was working on the car. He was helping us finish it. On race day, he was packing his own chutes, helping us maintain the motor. Like, he was just a first-class guy, and you can just tell in who he is and his mannerisms and the way he talks to people. He's a well brought up kid. I don't know where he come from, but he sort of comes across as a country kid, pretty quietly spoken, and he's very much a teammate and there for everyone else on the team. And slotted in, but like he said it in one of his live feeds, that he and I just work together like we've been racing together for years. So to highlight to you how he felt in the car, he actually said that he finds the car more comfortable and more like home than what Andrew Olipa's Corvette is. So,
it's a big thing, man.
To have someone that's been 362 in the Corvette or 364, whatever it went, to sit in your race car and in a couple of hours or a couple of days feel more comfortable than they do in a car they've done dozens or hundreds of passes in, obviously gives you a great deal of confidence. And then he knows the Motec backwards. Everything about the setup of mine is nearly identical to his car. So every button that he presses does exactly the same thing that it does in his car. Everything works the same. So he could basically just go through the same procedure just like it was his own car, but not. So,
and a lot of people don't know that detail, but just to elaborate on that. So when Shane was configuring the keypad that does everything in the car, he actually got Daniel in. They got the photo of that car and they replicated it, so it was like second nature, from fire systems to ignitions to whatever it was. And so they're the little details people miss, right? But that was a big thing. That was just labeling the keypad that goes in there was a big thing.
100%. Yeah.
To see the level of success, and just so everyone knows, when the car got towed back after the last pass at Kenda, the feedback from your driver or from the Kenda driver was he knows fast, and that was fast. So he's been 360s. He knew exactly what that car would have been on a pass. He was tracking it, and he knew exactly where it was at, and the data, said it. But mate, I saw a post from you during the week. You've pretty much set your schedule. Can you let everyone know what's waiting for the 6 Boost Camaro, and what the schedule's looking like now, and in 2019?
Yeah, so obviously the first thing is coming Monday. We'll start pulling the car apart completely, pretty much down to every last nut and bolt. We put it together. To go rewind a little bit, I've got to say I can't give enough thanks to Brett Benz at Warwick Panel and Paint and the boys out there. You know, I've had so many comments. I've had so many comments about how amazing the car looks.
Getting it done.
I've had so many comments about how amazing the car looks and how much everyone loves it, but you wouldn't believe it if I told you that the car was painted in under 24 hours. So I don't know what day of the week it was, but we dropped it off at like 7 p.m. the night before, and Terry was there at like 5 o'clock the following afternoon to pick the car up for us to bring it back and start assembling it. So
Awesome stuff, Brett.
you know, yeah,
Big
Good
stuff
stuff,
there,
man.
mate.
Good stuff. And I know Harry had to go for a drive to go get your front clip too.
yeah, he did. Yeah, so there was amazing efforts from a lot of people, but we were so limited for time to make sure that we made it that we didn't have time to paint the chassis, where we'd obviously done extensive modifications everywhere.
Yeah.
I think we welded up about 500 rivet holes in the car and bar work. It was friggin' ridiculous. You know, so there's a lot of bar work that's bare and exposed, but we didn't have time to mask the body, paint all of the chassis, and then mask the chassis and paint the body. So we just painted the body and assembled the car. So moving back to what you were talking about, we you know, we've got to strip the car down, finish a couple of little things, but mainly just paint the chassis work, pull the trans down. The cooling circuit wasn't quite working the way that we wanted to, so the converter wasn't getting cooled with the transmission cooler between rounds. So yeah, go through a couple of little things, and then Brett's going to paint the chassis for us and assemble the car ready to go to the States. So timing wise, after just seeing what Wade and Tanya went through with their car, we want to obviously make sure that it's in America well and truly early for the event. So our goal is to try and get it on a boat somewhere towards the beginning or middle of December, which will give us a good 8 to 10 weeks before our first event. So hopefully that's plenty of time to achieve what we've got to achieve as far as getting it there unloaded and being well and truly ready. And then we've got, like everyone, we're not a highly funded team, so you know, hopefully if funds allow, we'll do lights out in February, and then 4 or 5 weeks later we've got Sweet 16, both at SGMP. And then the final one will actually be on my birthday, which is Tyler's Racing Kentucky in April. So do those 3 events and then get it back on a boat and get it back here for Canada next year. So it's going to get the baptism of fire, that's for sure.
Yeah, we just had Wade Wagstaff say, send it tomorrow.
if I was going,
And I think Terry and Anita would agree.
Yeah, if I did it the way they did, I would probably need to send it tomorrow to have it ready for February.
Oh shit!
So, as unfortunate as that whole process was, hopefully it'll teach a few people, myself included, if we're sending stuff to America. And anyone that's considering sending their car, I'd probably get in contact with Wade or Tanya and Craig and ask a bit of advice to make sure that you get your stuff there and in a timely manner, and that all the correct paperwork is done, because there's obviously a lot of things that that they got caught out with, and it'd be good to make sure that that doesn't happen to anyone else moving forward. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Moving forward, get it on the boat.
A huge 2019 for you. Obviously, there's also a couple of cars in your stable, and you know, I'm not biased, but I know one of them's mine, man, and I know that there's some other cars coming out too, but as well. And then you know, you're sort of out of here and racing in the States. Tell me the way that you're feeling now, having built the car and understanding your goals personally, right? So. A lot of people in the game that are watching, right? Most people sacrifice their own ambition for that of their customers, but their customers often have it as a hobby rather than as a way of life. For you and people like Vic and Justin and everyone else that actually uses motorsport to actually run their family and to survive, it must be different on your side of the fence where, this is huge exposure for Six Boost in terms of a brand. This is huge exposure for the people that support you. So the Noonans, the Tremaines, you've got Garrett turbos on there, or you're using their turbos. The Benzes of this world that are painting it and that will get exposure from it. You're talking about one of the world-class leading cars, and look at Jet Martin at the moment. He's all over all of the media and Wade and even Jarrod, man. Racing that 275 car over there. Now that you're doing it for yourself personally, does it change your approach to the customers' cars in terms of understanding the end goal now that you've achieved it for your own self?
No, not really. If anything, ours is kind of reverse engineered to everyone else, because what I've just put into my own car, I've been trying to put into everyone else's cars for probably the last decade. So, every time that it comes across a little bit as arrogance, I think, to a lot of people, either my personality or my persona, especially at a racetrack, and it's entirely unintentional. It's just that I'm a very focused person, and I don't have to dislike you to want to beat you on race day. I just want to beat you because I want to not necessarily be better than you. I just want to do better than everyone else at my set task, and my set task is making cars essentially 60 and 330 faster than anyone else, which we have a relatively good track record of. So to be very focused on that, and to having my customers' cars have the componentry and the setup needed to achieve that, I've been applying those principles to everything that we've touched for quite a while. So to build my own car and to finish it was just essentially following the same principles that we have had on customers for a long time. So the big benefit for people like, for those that don't know, we're doing a rebuild of Justin's VL and your own car. So, I've been very lucky to have my worker, Matt Larson, completely untrained in CNC work 12 to 18 months ago. I knew he'd be really good at it because he's the type of guy that can basically do everything and anything, and tunes his own cars and does a lot of stuff himself, and taught himself how to use CAD, and then learnt the CNC machine. We CNC machine all our own head plates and a lot of stuff in the shop, and basically threw him in the deep end with my car. Everywhere you look, there's something made out of billet, and how quickly in the end that we could essentially do little jobs very quickly on the CNC that other people couldn't really afford to do. It's going to extend into customers' cars. Like Justin's obviously put his hand up to say he wants a billet fuel tank like ours, and things like 4-link bracketry and things like that, rather than welding your doublers on the bolt holes and whatnot. We'll just get a piece of 10mm chromoly plate and CNC the doubler onto it, and little things like that the end product will obviously be better for our customers that we've learnt. So it's certainly, building our car has had a benefit to those around us, but in terms of changing my perspective on the effort that we apply or how we do things, it'll probably remain pretty much unchanged.
Mate, that's awesome to hear. Now, Kyle, thanks for tuning in for the last 3 hours, man. But we spoke about raising some money for charity, and I know you've got something near and dear to your heart as well, mate. So you've heard what we're going to do, and I'll let people know that if they donate towards the charity that we're doing, that they can grab a shirt from you. We're probably going to limit it in terms of numbers, so as many shirts as you can afford to give, mate, is fine. It'll only be for people that actually donate $100 to enter in, and we're going to put together a little radial pack, and then let everyone know the sponsors that provided some gear. But personal situation for yourself, I believe a young family member or relative who's in a pretty bad way at the moment and fighting. But and as you know, with Victor, mate, it's very near and dear to our hearts. So firstly, thank you for reaching out about that. It was definitely something we were thinking of, and then you really hit it home. And then Jarrod obviously smashed it home for us as well. So we're going to do that. And if there's any specific charity that we need to mention for yourself and the causes as well, but if there's anything you wanted to mention about what's going on, and mate, feel free to use this as an outlet. But thank you for Six Boost and everything that you do for the races in general, but what you offered to raise some money for breast cancer is pretty huge, man.
Yeah, so my niece is, she's only 29 and recently found out that she has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is, I think it's a form of leukemia, so it's a blood cancer. She had quite a few months of, not knowing what was up, and I think it was, if anything, a bit of a relief to find out actually what she had. But the downside to that has been she's had some really intense chemo and been through a pretty tough time, so she's got a long road ahead of her, but she's got a really good chance at beating it, which some people don't. But thankfully, through the advances in technology these days, our chances get better and better feeding the terrible disease. So
Kyle, where's she based, mate? Is she in Queensland or?
She's in Brisbane in Queensland. So
well, what we'll do, Kyle, we'll if you can, mate, just send us some details, and Vic and I organise a little care package from us. We get the girls, maybe a few essential oils, maybe a couple of gift cards and stuff. We'll send over to her, mate, wherever she is.
That'd be amazing.
Because we know what it's like to have personal barriers when it comes to what we're doing. But what we do is a luxury, mate. Racing is a luxury. When someone is battling for their life, battling to stay alive and to live their life, mate, that's a problem. How much money in the bank account is irrelevant. It's living your life. So again, mate, we're on board. JW's just come on board to whatever he needs to do to help out for the charity stuff, man. So we'll do that. But Vic and I put together a little care package and send it over to your relative, mate, just to put a smile on her dial, mate.
So I don't really have. So I lost the guy that was doing, one of my staff that was doing all of our porting. So at the moment I'm doing 80 to 100 hours a week, just keeping the wheels rolling to be able to get away to America next year. But if everyone who would like a Six Boost shirt wants to make a donation of $20 or more to any charity that they see fit, I don't care if it's cancer related, whatever you think is close to your heart. There's plenty of people out there less fortunate than us that obviously need a leg up, and every donation helps. So if they can, whether they want to send 20, 50 or $100, it doesn't faze me. But if they send $20 and just send you guys, a photo of the donation and an address and a size, every donation of $20 or more, I'll send a T-shirt to anyone, any corner of the country. So
no problem. That's
no limitation to numbers. If people want to donate 200 shirts, I'll supply 200 shirts. So whatever.
We'll probably try and cap it at some point, Kyle, because it could go global.
We're not going to get 200 people who want a shirt, but I'm just saying, there's
you get 300
to.
The power of the internet. Last feed we had 7,000 people nearly, man. So be careful. But look, the most important thing is that anyone who's hearing this and who's going to replay this, Kyle is offering, if you can prove that you've donated to a charity that is of note to yourself, and it's more than $20. For me, it should be more than $100, Kyle, to be honest, mate. People got to dip their hand in the cobwebs, mate. But you've said 20, so we'll stick to your word, mate, because your word is true. That you'll provide a T-shirt. You know what I mean?
I trust in people that if you can afford to put 100, you'll put 100 in.
Absolutely.
Obviously there's a lot of battlers out there that are pretty tight. So I just want to give everyone the opportunity to make a difference. If you can afford $100 and you only put forward 20, then that's on you. But obviously try and be generous, guys. There's people out there that can benefit from our help. So
Absolutely, man. So Kyle, firstly, mate, we wish your family member an awesome recovery, and they'll get a Jet 275 Victor and Sam pack over the next week, man. So we'll sort that out. But mate, congratulations on what you've achieved with Peter and putting your car together as a genuine radial versus the world car. You're going to head over there. So you got the invite to the Sweet 16. You'll race lights out. You race Tyler's event. And then you're going to come back for Kenda, man. So that's pretty huge stuff there as well. Mate, it's a pleasure to always speak to you. It's a pleasure to deal with you. If you need a manifold, firstly, you shouldn't be looking anywhere other than 6-boost. Yeah, Vic, any words for Kyle? Because he's probably got to go well.
Do you need a spare motor? Have you got a spare motor? What are we going to do?
Boys, the amount of things that I need, I really need to push it hard at Sweet 16. We really need a spare transmission, a spare motor, a spare diff center. You know, the things that are ahead are fairly monumental, but we'll keep chipping away at it, do whatever we have to do, and yeah, transmission's the first one. I mean, not everyone's got a spare motor in the truck. As long as we got obviously we've got spare valve train and pistons and rods, but at this point in time, the goal is just to learn the car. The setup was far from optimal at Radial, right? So everyone keeps asking me when I'm going to get in the car and drive it, but at this point in time, the chassis is nowhere even remotely close to where I want it to be. So until it's doing everything that it should be doing, my entire focus is there. That's where my life's work is understanding the chassis dynamics of a vehicle. So I can't focus on driving a car when the one thing that my life revolves around isn't right. So America, as you said with Wade, is going to be a whole different ball game. The racetrack's on another level. So what the car needs here to what it needs there are two different things. So yeah, we've got a fairly big task ahead of us to harness what we potentially have as a package to make it right, to hopefully go and run with the best in the world. So Wade's got a few passes on us there to get closer to that mark. So his focus is on Sweet 16, where we'll probably use lights out as a bit of a test session to try and get the car to where it needs to be to at least try and qualify in that top 16 for Sweet 16. So I won't make such lofty goals as yourself as to win $100,000 at Sweet 16, but if I can qualify, I would come home as a success.
You got to be there to win it, mate, and you're in it.
My heart. Yeah, so yeah, we'll work hard for the goal and hopefully make it there soon. But a big shout out to obviously my partner Peter. The last couple of months, she obviously went through plenty, as does a lot of racers' wives and partners. So it's really fitting that you guys are looking at doing something for them. A lot of people think it's just us off working in the shed, but often our partners have got children and families to run, and they make a lot of sacrifices potentially in their own lives, not going away for holidays or things like that, for us to either be able to financially afford what we do, or even if it's just time-wise afford what we do. So, and then the last couple of months, Peter was obviously pretty torn up, seeing me do 20 plus hours a day and virtually not being able to do anything except feed me. So they go through plenty themselves, and I certainly couldn't have made it here without her and her support. So
to let you know, Kyle, we're going to put together a special episode just for the racers' wives. So it's going to be off the hook, man, because I think they're going to have their own get back at some of us. But we got here Daniel, and Daniel's just said can't wait for 2019, and Shane said he and Pharris is laughing. Kyle Trickle, Pharris, get ready.
Now, if only we can work out how to get him to drive two cars in Radial versus the World at the same time, so that he could be driving the Camaro and the Corvette in the same rounds, that'd be fantastic. But until then, we'll go with option B. So
you never know. You never know what's around the corner, Mr. Boost.
No, true.
All good. Thanks for your time, man. Thanks for everything you do. We're going to do a wrap up of everything that we've done today. mate, by the end of today, we'll have everything loaded up on the page and everyone can share the shit out of it
Yeah.
and generate some money, man. But again, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for letting us have a small part to play in the 6-boost Camaro getting to the track and also for allowing me to be a customer of 6-boost, mate. It's an honour, pleasure, and it's a pleasure to have you on board, Victor.
Yeah, mate. You're one of the good guys in the sport, mate. You do everything. You deserve every best accolade, and we'll be there supporting you and whatever you need, mate. We'll look forward to 2019, mate.
Thanks, boys. I'll just finish by thanking everyone that helped us get to where we did at Radial Right. There's virtually not one person that touched the car that didn't make that goal possible. Just quickly touch on Ray at Western Suburbs. He really helped us out with the rear end, and he's been a wealth of knowledge at running sort of big power Hemis. And Dan at Noonan put up with my endless emails and phone calls and stupid requests for different things. Obviously, Justin and Michael at JW, the car wouldn't even be close to running if it wasn't without those guys. I think Michael worked probably longer and harder hours than anyone on the entire project to get it there in the end, and for not one single wire on the whole car to be wrong, out of place, to me is just
Phenomenal.
testament to his dedication to his work. The amount that Justin put aside of his own work and time to allow that dream to happen is second to none.
Yeah.
And Brett, Terry at Paramount, Terry had his own car to try and get done for Radial Right, which he ended up making the final, ran a PB 440. Really happy for those guys in the new car. There was times where he should have been working on his car and he was helping with mine. So anyone that I've missed, thanks guys. I couldn't have made it without you. And finally to you boys, Shane couldn't have put it better. Your morale and to have you there at Justin's for those last couple of days, really helped shape those last couple of days to both being an enjoyable experience and certainly a very supportive one that, has carried through. So I can't wait to help you guys in return for the rest of this year and next year.
Mate, it's a pleasure.
Pleasure, mate.
It's to see Aussies achieving at the best of the best of this world. It's an absolute pleasure, mate. So hold on here.
Congrats to Wade and Jet and everyone as well too. You guys have been really doing us proud over there in America.
So Shane T has dubbed it the 6-boost kryptonite Camaro. Fuck the world.
Maybe for the win. For the win.
Oh,
For the win.
okay.
For the win. 101.
It's an FTW, man.
Okay.
And then Pharris said, "We're ready. Bring that thing on." So I think you've got
on the same
Awesome.
I think everyone's on the same page, my friend.
Awesome. All right, boys, I'll let you carry on with the
Thanks,
feed.
man.
Take care, mate.
Thank
See you
you.
guys.
Just quickly there, I'm going to just change the topic. I think I seen George Haramis on the live feed. George Haramis, if you're out there, let me know.
GH.
GH074.
Are you sure he's not fishing today?
George Haramis, mate. He's
a
dropped the
mad-
line out past the heads, but he's on the line.
He's a mad fisherman. that
Isn't
guy.
that guy a diehard, mate? Hasn't George done some great stuff? in
Now,
the game?
before we finalise the wrap up, right? I've had a message from Paul Gacera from Radio Life, right? So just letting everyone know, you can now enter with a full online form. So there are now no excuses not to enter. No excuses.
Does everybody know what event this is?
Does everyone know?
Does everybody know what event this is?
No excuses. I don't know. Yeah, we'll do something like that. No excuses, live event. Now, you can register online. There are links that are going to be on the Jet275 page. Gacera, you're on. I can see you, brother. So start posting those links, man. And so it's full online entry. We're going to share it on Facebook as well. Now, there are rules. There are rules. Hold on.
Rules, but there's a lot of prize money as well. Awesome stuff going on there from Paul.
So there are class rules that are online. So there's no excuses. There's no
no excuses.
Pun intended. Yeah.
No pun intended.
But Paul, I don't want to see a John Sears event where we have to justify everyone's bloody rule right on Monday morning. So the rules are there. If you don't like the rules, don't even bother entering, man. And if you're an actual racer, come in, bring your cash. There's going to be cash up for grabs, and I'm sure there's going to be some grudge racing. People are going to put down some flow, and there'll be some grudge racing there. So that's in Ballarat, December 1st And I know there's a few cars that we know that are about to enter this week. So Speedy, get your shit together because we've got to go bring the paint. And you, I know, we're going to try and have that, that
we'll
235 thing there as well. So there will be no excuses, Ballarat on the 1st. Guys, it's been a now 3 hour and 10 minute episode.
Probably sick of me.
Everyone's sick of us. So
I've been eating some, all right. But I don't know about you.
we want to thank everyone. The numbers have gone up, down, left, right, and centre, but there's been a consistent amount of numbers and supporters there. Again, Paul, so my wife's just put that on there for you, Paul. We have done exhibition passes too for people that aren't completing.
So there you go.
So guys, a few things. We're going to have the charity auctions. We're going to have some of the highlights on there. We're going to write some of the things John Sears said, Shane T. We'll do a bit of a highlights reel. I don't think there is a bigger live feed when it comes to the calibre of people we've had on board. We want to thank everyone. John Sears, Shane T, Jarrod Wood, Wade Wagstaff, Kyle Hopf. We've promoted the 235 radial race. We've promoted No Excuses. We've promoted Kenda. We're going to support the sponsors as much as we can. Have I missed anything?
Mate, I'm tired just listening to you. You're a machine, man. The guy's a machine, mate.
Honestly,
the guy's a machine.
Honestly, listen.
It just rolls off, mate. No, look, we're out there having a go and, bring the radial community together and, hey, competition's competition and get to the event.
And a big thing. So one of Vic's main competitors in the 235 class has reached out to Vic to raise money for breast cancer as well. So Scotty Cortina, man.
Thank you again for that.
Huge
we
thank
will
you.
be in touch after the
absolutely
after the live feed.
Now, Vic, so we've got Ivan, Mr. Mad's car that's been built. We've got
Seville, yes.
We've got Totorolla's
Tortorella 275 car, small block.
I know there are two cars that are
Ben Temper.
Ben
Out of
Temper.
Matook's stable there. Twin cam radial.
Now, Matook's has been running 275s in those GRs as well, man, so he knows all about radials.
Well, I don't know, they're doing what they're doing there, but
absolutely,
he's
man.
fine with that thing. He's knocking on the door for a 6, and I mean, geez, what's it going to take to do that?
Absolutely, man. So
he's there.
There's a lot going on in the scene. We're gonna keep covering it, right? Oh, Zaraki just joined us. You obviously made power, Zaraki.
Nick Zarakis is on.
What are you doing? You coming on board? Or
I was stressing, mate. I'm messaging him during the live feed. He must have been pulling the string in that room. For him to be on early, it is a very good result. So
Zaraki's on board. All right, guys. So we're going to wrap it up there because I'm pretty much almost going to lose my voice, and I'm sure Barolos is going to lose his voice too. But
no, man, I've been eating. I'm fine.
On the next episode, we're going to try and have the actual grandfathers of, not grandfathers, but the pioneers of the radial racing in the world, right? So Vic mentioned Big Daddy Dwayne Guthridge.
Dwayne Guthridge.
I'm currently conversing with Mr. David Wolf as well.
People know David Wolf is?
I don't know.
If you don't know who David Wolf is,
look
mate,
him
you
up.
shouldn't be on radials, mate.
Look him up. If you're one of these newcomers to radial racing and you want to know what people have been doing, man, people have been running these speeds. If you look at Kevin Fiskus and what he achieved as well, man. So at the end of the day, guys, we're going to have another killer episode towards the end of the month. The wives episode, we're just in planning, going to reach out to some of the wives. But before we go, huge mention to Nikki Hepburn. I believe 18 days away from racing against the Puerto Ricans with Boosted 86 Lanani. I know Jet Racing's out there, and Rod Harvey and Kelly Betts, Scott Porter. I hope I haven't missed anyone, but if I have, if I've missed anyone, again, the Aussies are representing in the world. We're very proud of Nikki. Nikki's a very humble person. Her and Luke have got Boosted Fire. They're doing the best they can on the budget that they have, and they're out excelling what anyone would think out of a little 6-cylinder. Again, Justin will always support you, mate, as much as we can. But guys, thanks for joining us. Victor, any parting words, any call-outs? What are we doing?
There's always some parting words.
Are you going to call out Haramis?
I want to know where George Haramis is. He came on the live feed. I want to get him on.
Maybe
is he on the live feed? Have a look.
Are you going to bring the V out?
George Haramis, I need to talk to you very, very important and urgently.
Wow. No,
where is he?
He's not there.
George Haramis came on, had a sniff. He must have picked up a Dewey or something. He's pulling the line. He's dropped the live feed on us. But George Haramis, mate, if you're out there, we're going to be on for about another 60 seconds.
He's not there. But Nikki, you leave in 2 weeks today. So 14 days before you're there. Everyone's saying send it, Nikki. But Haramis, man, you need to reach out to us. We might have to record this conversation. But I think Barolos is going to be calling you out. And we'll go from there.
I'm just seeing there's a few things coming on through. What do we got here? Oh, there's a couple of photos of VLs, and people are just sending all sorts of stuff here. Someone sent a photo of a goat again.
Keep sending
I don't know what this goat thing is.
If you were there for the Kyle thing, you know what the goat is. Nicky and Luke know exactly what the goat.
God damn it! We don't want to be hearing that thing on the start line when it burns the tyres.
All right, so action-packed episode, guys. 3 hours and plus of what we've been doing. Thank you to everyone. Thanks to all the people that came on.
That Dave Reed there. Let us know if you need some art and stuff done, lads.
No, we will, man. I'll probably need it for Jet 275,
Send
man.
us some details and a contact number.
Yeah, let me know, man.
And we'll get to you.
Absolutely, we're going to make our own merchandise and stuff, and sell that off and donate as well. But Vic, thanks again, man. This was a killer episode.
Oh, mate, you've
the next one's going to be huge. We'll probably limit how many guests we have because it's just we can't say no to people, you know, when they want to join us up. So again, guys, thank you. Well done to all the Aussies, and I definitely want to have Jet Martin on next episode too. So we'll work towards that. And Donald Long will be back. He's just getting some rest, man. He wanted to come on, and I said, look, man, it's all good. But the next episode we'll get him on board and really whack it out there, out of the park. Alrighty.
Any last requests?
I don't know. You tell me. Sure. I'll put the elevator music on just to.
Elevator music, yeah. No, that's it. I think, guys, we've recapped it all. We've done all. Who is George Harriman's coming on there? Who's that? No, Luke Coy. Thanks, boys.
No, no worries, man.
You guys, mate. You guys are going to fly over there. Hopefully, we can be over there with you guys. But yeah, some exciting stuff going on over there as well.
Yeah,
anyway,
so they leave in 14 days anyway. So
they leave in 14. All right. Well, I think that recaps it for the day.
Absolutely.
As I always say, you can be rich forever. You can only be lean once. Shane T knows what I'm talking about. Nick Zarakis, you're the man. JW Power to the front. 225 motherfuckers.
2-2.
ATB.
The guys lost it. See you guys. Thank you.